Hello developers, today we're going to build a mobile e-commerce application which will be support both for iOS and Android. As you can see, I'm running here on that iPhone 16 Pro Max and also another in that Android emulator. Both are working perfectly fine. You can see the product is loading and everything working just smooth and well. And our database going to be handled by Supabase. As you can see, we have our user table, and also by so far we can also having another table which is going to be hosting our order. You can see all of our order going to be coming here, and we're going to manage our Stripe to using the payment authentication. And first of all, I will just provide a quick overview what kind of things we're gonna have. As you see, this is the home page which you're gonna have. That if you click, like if I want to go any particular categories, you can just go in our all product segment. You can choose any categories, and then that categories would be selected. So this is just we're gonna go in that, and that's the same thing also working for Android as you see in the profile data. So you can just go and click and see the profile view, so the data it will be available. You can also view the order for that particular user which we're going to be fetched from our Supabase. And as you see, you can delete the order. You can just go and like if the order is not, you see the status is pending, so you can also initiate the payment and others. And by so far it's working both of the devices. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna close one of the devices because it's consuming a lot of memory. So I'm gonna just close the Android, but trust me, when I'm making the design, it will be supported for Android and iOS, just because we are building with Expo. So it's very simple to run in any platform. No need to go and configure a lot of the details and things. Right now I'm going to close that one, so my emulator will be closed. And let's start from the beginning. So as you see, my project has two separate parts. I will just go and give you a details here. In the main manual, you can see here I have two separate projects. One is for the application where they're running using Expo. Another, I'm running my backend where I'm holding to run my server, which is actually happening to be run our getting this Stripe payment. So first of all, let's go and create a user. As you see, it's my profile and I'm not logged in, so I can go either log in. If I logged in, I can just go with the credential, or I will sign up a new account. As you see here in the, I think I can go with my authentication. So authentication, and here is the users. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna make one user. If I just click any of that without the email and password, you see the email is required, password is required, all the things is working perfectly fine. So what I'm gonna do, YouTube, so I'm gonna just go with that. So that should be YouTube at, and now the email confirmation email which I stop it because the Supabase, they are charging for it. You can only say send 2 email confirmation for hours. So I just post that one for this project, but you can activate. I'm gonna show you how easily you can activate that one. So that's my email. Then I'm gonna give a password, and of course the password length you also need to be configured. As you see, the minimum 6 character need to be there. So I'm gonna just put a length of 6 character, and also I will just confirm the password. And after confirming the password, it will create a sign up. It will create a new user, which alongside it gonna come up in my database. If I refresh the database, you're gonna see I have YouTube at gmail.com. So now I'm gonna log in with that YouTube, and then I'm gonna go with @gmail.com. After that, I'm gonna just pass my credential and sign in. So after signing, as you see, I can see my orders, and I can see my card, I can see the payment method, shipping address, settings, and a lot of other things here. Also I can edit profile and do a lot of things. So first of all, we're gonna go and create a payment authentication, which is really crucial for every single thing. And later on we're gonna drop so many features. Now as you see, this data is coming through an API, which is the fake JSON. Also we can make the uploading, like as we build, you see, we can drop each and everything. We are having a backend right now. We can make a lot of other facility. No worries, we will do that. We're gonna make that happen. So first of all, I'm gonna add a product in the card, and after adding, you see there is a toaster here, and also you can add more shuffling thing, like you can show the quantity and others. No worries, in the build we are going to do all of those. And also you can add to favorites. You see, you add it, there is a mark, and also you can see the product. This is just acknowledging that. Also if you go in the search overall, you can just I will search something. You see, I also can add to cart from here. So this is the all fundamental reasoning, and this is working perfectly aligned. So let's just go to see in our wish list. You see there is the favorite products list. So it's just rendering the simple product view. You can view any of that, and by the way, if you click, it will go and just fetch the data in real time. In the details view, you can see the image perfectly. Also you can see the title and also the price ratio description, and here you can see the quantity. You can add more quantity if you wanted to, then you can add directly in the cart. So now it's added to the cart. So let's just go and see back again, and no worries, the cart remove because I was just reloading and reset some data here. Okay, so now we will make a checkout first of all. So let's go over here. Now as you see, we are not logged in. Again, I'm saying I was received something because it got jammed. So now we'll try to log in again, and we're gonna log in with our credential which we use for YouTube. So YouTube, and then the same credential is that gmail.com, and here the password. Hit enter, and then we can just get the sign in, and also we can directly visit the cart from here. As you see now, from the cart we can do a lot of things. First of all, if you want to delete any product, you can just simply delete it, and as you see, the item and other things is getting minus, amount is getting displayed, and others. So we have 933.83 according to our shipping cost. So here we're gonna place order, and as you see, as we place the order, we are now here in the confirm a payment. So that's the where the payment should be done. So after passing the payment, also we can open on our table so that we will see if we are having any orders or not. Right now we have number 19, which is that 93383. The order is placed, but you see the payment status is pending. So it didn't paid yet, but order is just because why we do that, because a user can pay online, a user can pay on cash, so the payment we can take later. So now if we confirm the payment, what we're gonna do, we're gonna update that status to success. So I'll go with this type payment, I'll go with a 4242 like the default value of that, and a valid month and date, so 123 the CVC, and I will hit pay. So now after hitting pay, what I'm doing, I'm just taking that key of that, and then I am just making that one as success. So click OK. So we did that part. So I think it will update. It will just take a bit of time to go on that. But right now, as you see, I think also refresh button here, nothing. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna refresh entirely just to see if it's working or not, but it should work. You see the status, the payment done, so means it work. You see, okay, that's done. And also you can manually done here, manually update here, because it's all are editable using that SQL server. So now as you see, we have our my orders, and by the way, you can also delete your order. Okay, you can just simply delete it. You see no orders, so you can start shopping. So this is a very like a fundamental things. You can see also you can go and low to high ratio, you can filter through it, you can reset your filter. So there is a bunch of thing happening here. This is just keep in mind that's the data which we are fetching from the Package API. Otherwise all other thing happening dynamically, we are making it real time and passing it to you. So that's how we can combine it all together. So stay with me, we're gonna build everything from scratch and we can make it happen so that you can build your own application. For building our application, we're gonna use the React Native, which will be supporting both for iOS, Android, and web. And first of all, I'm gonna focus on especially the mobile version. So I'm gonna leave the web view, I'm not gonna hitting on that. So first of all, here you need to go to click to get it started, and then you can go with, there is a two option there. You see, you can either go with that without a framework like the native version, but I'm gonna skipping on that right now. I'm gonna go with the Expo version because it's a very light, very easy to configure, because it's gonna just also give you a much more flexibility on that. And by the way, React Native just making you entertain that you go with Expo. As you say, Expo is a production grade React Native framework. Expo provides a developer tooling that make developing apps easier, such as file-based routing, a standard library of native modules, and much more. That file-based routing is like the same if you're working with the Next.js or any other file-based library, you will be happy with that. So you can go with that. So it's very simple to create the Expo app latest, but first and foremost we can go directly in the Expo, and here we can go to explore the Expo documentation. And by the way, we will just come time to time here in React Native. So as we're gonna use a lot of components, we're gonna use basically all of the things from the same, like whenever we are building the Next.js application, we're exporting a lot of things from the React because base boilerplate is the React. So that's the same thing gonna happen with React Native, but right now we need to know about the documentation for Expo. As you see the quick start, you just need to run that command and it will just create your application. So I took a directory here, which is the build directory, and open it in my terminal here. So I'm gonna just run my command here, npx create expo-app latest, hit enter. So now it's gonna guide me, and of course you need to have node installed in your machine. That's a very simple procedure. So now what the name we can provide, first of all, what's the name here? It's a shop cart, so we're gonna provide that shop cart yt, enter. And after that is okay, npm installing, so it's gonna install all the dependency and make that things happen so that it can work together. And by the way, you can use yarn, bun or pnpm, it's up to you, but I'll go with the default package manager. Okay, our application is created, but I think we have a little problem here. As you see, it just installed that shopcart yt, and here you can see all other foundation. But what I want to say, I'm gonna make it as a client app, okay? Because we're gonna have a server. So then I'm gonna have another folder which going to be shopcart yt, and then I'm gonna just drag and drop that one here. So now it's combining that because we need to, then I'm gonna drag it to open it in my Visual Studio Code, which will be right here. And now why I did that, because we're gonna have to separate directory which gonna host to separate fundamentals and separate ideas. So first of all, I'm gonna make it bigger and to align it all together. And here, if I just open that, you can see my client app, and beside the client, we're gonna also having another which we can say server, or also you can make it as the backend. It's up to you. So we have two different projects. So now let's open my terminal here. If I put ls, you see I am here to separate directory. So cd into client-app. And here I'm gonna make, if we open the client app, it's just a boilerplate how we can open the application. This VS Code extension, you can just remove it. It's just gonna hold my explicit like source fill and other. You can remove it if you don't want. But the best thing to recognize here is that our app, so that app gonna having our structure to build our application, and also as you see the node modules to combine and take each and everything. We're gonna have our script which we can reseed the project, but right now we'll not go reseed. We're gonna go with the fundamental types. You know, you can reseed and you can start from the depth, but if there is a combination, we can just go and follow through whenever we read it. But we're gonna keep that code to reset project. Either you can remove it if you don't want, you can just remove the script. And also if you go in the packages, as you see, you can just remove that command also, so it will not hold you to reset the project. That's up to you. Then what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna make that npx expo start, enter. So it's gonna start running, it's gonna start spinning our application in various formulation. And as you see, if you have your real device, like if you can just follow through the documentation properly, you can see it's a very easy and very good guideline. If you go create a project, set up your environment, you see how you can go with that, how you can go with Android, iOS. If I just go, and here is the beginning, you can go with the Expo Go. If you're having Android devices, just go in Play Store, download that Expo Go. And for the iOS, same thing, download Expo Go. And from after downloading it, you can just QR code that one, you know, just scan that one, and it will automatically run your application. Or either you can just fill that with the Expo, you can just provide the IP address on the local host, then it will also start running. So now I want to run it in my iOS. For Android, you just paste A. For Android, you just press A. For iOS, just press I. So it's now going to open that in my as my simulator is open, so it's gonna just simply run within my simulator. And now, while it's running, as you see, the main basic understanding is that my app, which gonna hold all of my route, then I have my tabs. Now, within the tabs, because as you see in the layout, it's just rendering two separate fundamental things. One is that it's just going through a provider. I'm gonna explain a bit to you so you can just have a good acknowledgement of it. As you see, here we have our theme toggler, by which we are just accessing the dark theme or light theme. And by the way, we are not gonna entertain the theme motion, so we will know. I'll show you what we're gonna do that. So now this is our basic application is run, and also is have a font loaded which have the space monoregular.ttf, and that font is right here. It's just a default font. You can also change it by your own font. Now there is a color schema where it's happening to be passing with the theme provider. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna remove this entire theme provider because I'm not gonna use that theme provider and I'm not gonna entertain with that. And first of all, if I save, okay, there is okay, I think yeah, I'm gonna also remove that status bar because I'm gonna provide all of those dummy things in my header and wherever I'm gonna put a wrapper or in that substantial places. So now here in the stack we have one portion is tabs, and that tabs is just highlighting all of the things. In the tabs we have the layout, and on that particular layout we have like 3 portion: explore, index, I think 2 portion. One is explore, one is the home. So that explore, now within that route we have some other formulation, and as you see it just happened to be everything right there. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go and start entertaining my own scenario. As you see, I'm just gonna this for the portion here, React Native reanimated. I think I'm gonna just remove whatever things I'm not needing. Just remove that, and also not require the color schema. Okay, done. So that looks pretty cool. Okay, simple and not exaggerated anything. So now what we're gonna do, and also for the loaded, we can just now, as we have the font, so I think, yeah, loaded, so we are using the font. If not loaded, okay, so we can now pass a loading screen, but right now I'll just go with the default way. So here is the file which is happened to be our index file, and which having each and every single thing is running here. I'm gonna close that also. Now that index file combining our all together all the patterns. So what I'm gonna do, first of all, I'm gonna just refurbish that index file. So to do that, I'm gonna just close everything here. Okay, then I'm gonna pass a view, and that view should be imported from React Native. Here I'm gonna pass a text and our home screen. Okay, I think the text needs to be imported from React Native too. Hit save. So now as you see home screen at the top, of course it will be at the top, but we can go with that like the safe area view, and then it will just come back within the safe area formulation. We can see our home screen perfectly. So first of all, we're gonna set up our entire like parameter. Only then we should be able to go and generate all of our segment. So right now, as you see, those things you can use if you wanted to, but as I said, I will go with the default behavior, so I'm not gonna go any of the structure material here. We're gonna build everything from scratch. And also one more thing, the explore, you see that tab, I'm gonna remove that tab entirely because I'm not gonna using that one. And also for our that components layer here, we have a lot of other components, so I'm gonna go here and I'm gonna just delete everything. I'm not gonna using that. Okay, we are having something components. Okay, here is that in the UI. I know there is some of the things is right here. I'm gonna just delete all of those, not require. Okay, so right now I think in the layout we are having some issue here, which is going to be okay. There is a tab bar background. Are we going to use that? So if we go in our layout, I think we should be happen to be there. Yeah, the tab bar background, we need to be keep it there. Or I'm gonna revert that because I think for some of my, you see the not found, and also if we go in our deeper layout, we are using that background and others. So I'm gonna keep it like that. You can also remove that. 2, 3, it can be removable, but I'm gonna just, because you see the collapsible external link, both is not required, I think internally. You can remove that. Also that parallax that one you can also, I think this one we can use, like especially this one, it can be usable in our product page. like product screen, so it can be like parallax scroll view. So I'm going to keep it like that here. So now first thing first, we need to set up our screen because we are going to have a 3 screen, which is really like the shop and also the profile. So what I'm gonna do, in my tabs, I'm gonna create one screen which it will be named as a shop.tsx rnfes to just create the snippet to just easily combine and create our screen. So now here you can see we have a shop screen, and also you can rename that screen if you wanted to, like say you can say shop screen. Okay, so also whenever you are renaming that, you need to also rename our export default variation. So now you can see we have 2 variation here, and another I'm going to keep it, which will be profile. So should be profile.tsx rnfes. So if you are not having that snippet, if it's not working to you, then you need to install that React Native snippet here. You could just simply go right here, and I think it will be I will just show you that where is there? It's somewhere right here. I think it's okay. You can search ES6 or ES7. I think the ES7 it will pop up. So ES7, which will be React Native. Yeah, you can see. I think you should get that one, which is 2.6. So you can, it will also work for that React Native snippet. It will working perfectly for that. Also, you can use that one. It's up to you. So now we're having 2 set of icon, like 2 set of field here. But as you see right here in our parameter, if we click and over here, both screen you can see at the top. So at the home, we need to set a certain kind of things by which it can be look much better. So what I'm gonna do, so instantly we're gonna go in our tab bar layout. So let's go in tab. Over here, we need to go and specify that. As you see, there is one screen here which I'm gonna remove because we doesn't have that screen for our Explorer. So what we need to do, we need to initialize 2 several screens. So I'm gonna copy that and I'm gonna just pin that twice. Okay, so of course it will provide an error because it's not unique. So first of all, okay, there is an, okay, this should be gone, and here first one is having the index, should be our index 1, and then I'm gonna rename the other one. The second one, it should be our, let's say it will be our shop, and whenever it gonna be handled on that, the title I'm gonna put at the title as shop, and also for the last one should be having here the profile, and also the title should be naming a capital P and then profile. So should be profile. Hit enter and save. So we should be having, okay, I'm gonna make reload. If you're having any error, it will, I believe it will wipe away. So we have 3 separate route now. And of course, if you click, you see it's just showing, but okay, I'm gonna also do the safe area view parameter right here so that you can see right now. Then we're gonna also make that thing in a very easy way. So should be area view, need to coming from React Native, and over here it will be popping up. So, and also the profile here, we're gonna do the same thing, just bring that safe area view. Okay, should be this one, safe area view. Okay, so right now if you go in the profile, we can see profile, we can see now we need to also change the icon. Okay, so for the icon, if you go at the tab, you see we are using that icon symbol, right? So you can go with the icon symbol if you are looking forward to, but we can use a lot of icon properties. You see our icons is gonna coming for, if we go over here, I think, or I believe if you go in the icon symbol, okay, that's all are using that Expo vector icons. You see the material icons. Also, if we go back to our package, we can see what certain kind of icon we are using. You see Expo vector icons, that's the one which we are using. So if we go just simply at the Google, and then we can search with the Expo vector icon, and you can see the documentation, we can see the icon preview library. So here it will be the documentation, the guideline, and here it will be all set of icons. Like if I want to make a profile icon, right? So now I can see we have the end design. I think that it should be better with the user. and design, we can use that like the feather, and we can use a lot of parameters. So I will try to cover up as much icon library as possible with a single library, but the font was font awesome and other, because right now you no need to set up any kind of things, is already embedded, setup is done, is ready to use, so you can just simply use it. And how? So far, as you see in the layout, I will try to use, so as you see in the icon symbol here, I will not use any icon symbol. So first one is the home, right? So this is the home field, so I'm going to use the second one, which is going to be shopping cart. So I'm going to remove that one, or I'm going to keep that one icon symbol. I'm going to just use that foundation. So foundation, foundation. Okay, it's not popping up really. So just getting the foundation, and of course the foundation need to be imported, but here it's not showing. So what I'm gonna do, the foundation feather, both segment we're gonna use, I'm gonna import it from Expo vector icons. So in the foundation, the name, we need to match with the name, and if you just look for the shopping cart, it should be named as shopping cart. So that's the name, it will be there. And as we did that, you can see the shopping cart icon is right here. And also the same way, if I just go and try to use another one, I'm going to use a feather. Okay, so feather, and also for the name. And that's the beauty of using the TypeScript. As you can see, if you're having an error, it's highlighting, so you can just easily correct ourselves and make that good as soon as possible. So you have our user icon, so we have our profile, we have our shop, we have our home. So both things are set up, everything is good to go. So right now, as you see, as we have our two certain thing, we're gonna have lots of other routes, and of course we're gonna do it very soon. But first of all, we need to go in our index parameter, where we're gonna make our magic, where we're gonna put everything in a very good mode. First of all, how we can do that? First, right now we're gonna create a wrapper. It will why it's gonna call a wrapper? Because it's gonna wrapping our entire application, and we're gonna go and prefetch and make everything top notch. First of all, I'm gonna create a component which will be wrapper.tsx rnfes. So it will create a React Native functional component. And what it's gonna happen, what we're gonna do right now, I'm gonna take several things as a parameter. I'm gonna take the children. I think one, it will be enough. I'm going to just take the children, which will be React at React Node the type. And you see that view. So instead of wrapping every time, I'm going to wrap it with a safe area view. So should be safe area view here from React Native, and passing everything here. I will not do the text. I'm going to just pass that children. So this is our children parameter. And right now, what I'm gonna do, as you see, the safe area view have no style. So I'm gonna put a style, and I'm not gonna using any of that customize or any of the framework for the style. As you see in the native mode, is very good and easy way if you can style like properly align the style like that way. For whenever it's bundling, it's getting faster build. But if you're having any preferences, let me know in the comments. I will try to cover up for that in the next video or for the next project. And also, if you're facing any kind of initial problem, any kind of rendering problem, let me know in the comments. Okay, so right now what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna define a safe view. Okay, that's just a definition. I need to define, then with the second bracket I need to make that. I'm gonna make it a flex 1, and of course I need to put the color combination. And right now I'm gonna having a color file. If you go over here and in the constant, I believe we are gonna have a colors here. So this is the color formulation which we are encompassing. You can see all the color variables, all the thin colors, color dark, so all of that. And after that, what I'm gonna do, what I love to do is to define my own color. Okay, so what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna just bring back my color templates, and no worries about that if you are not having that, if you're having issue with that, because I'm gonna push everything in a GitHub repo. In the description, the repo link, it will be there, so you're gonna have entire code base with you, so no worries about that. And as we are building with Expo, I think running Expo is very easy and simple. So this is my app colors, where we are defining some primary color, we are accent color, and then also with the gray color, just passing with the opacity variable values, then have the success, error, warning. For the background, the primary is white, secondary tertiary. For the text color, primary, secondary, tertiary, inverse. So this is the app colors which we are going to having there. And of course you can also go with the theme, but right now as you see we are not using the theme, so I can remove the theme, right? So I think it will not do any good for me. So as you see, that's the color is not required, but I think we are using somewhere there in that I think okay, I'm gonna keep it. I don't want to make any problem here. Let's just keep that one here. So I think it's we are using it somewhere in our in the layout. I think yeah, in the layout we are using that, not this one, layout on the tabs. And as you see in the background we're using the color scheme and we're getting the light tint from there. So this light and tint, so I think that's the one. Yeah, light and tint, that's the coming from there. I think if we just remove that, is it okay? Okay, there is a color scheme we're using. Okay, I'm gonna keep that. Okay, also you can remove, but whenever I'm gonna push that, I'm gonna polish that and just pass that whatever is needed. Okay, so right now I made it as a flex one. So what we can do right now, I'm gonna pass a background color. So should be background color. And the color should be, you remember we pass an app colors, need to be imported from constant app colors dot background and dot primary. Remember the way we align that one is as simple as clear is that in the app colors we have a primary, we have accent, we have gray, but this is one is the background, primary, secondary, and tertiary. So this should be getting the white color. And after that also we need to pass a margin top ratio. It's just for because for the Android devices. So that should be the platform dot, if the OS is equal to Android, then I'm gonna provide 30 pixel, because otherwise that should be like inside the notch. So to keeping that outside of the notch, we need to do that. So right now for the safe area view, we need to define the style, and our style should be styles dot safe view. So that would be one style, and then we will define another style which gonna be our container, which going to be the same ratio, flex 1, background colors which is the primary color, and padding horizontal 20, padding vertical 20. You can also remove that color. This is not mandatory because as we are passing that primary color right there. So in the view we're gonna pass the style, which the style should be style dot, and that would be container. So in the index, what we're gonna do, instead of pouring that one within the safe area view, I'm gonna okay, where we are, okay, let me revert on that. So I'm gonna just cut that one here, and I'm gonna just remove the safe area view. I'm gonna pass a wrapper, and within the wrapper we can just simply pass that. As you see, when we pass that, it's getting that for the horizontal padding. As you see, if we just unlock that, it will not take as much. So this is how you can combine, this is how you can do it, but we will not use that in the header. And why, you can say why we did that and why not using that, because in the header we should be having our own home header which gonna combine all of the spaces, because there will be a border pattern. That's why we're gonna use that. But we are now having the wrapper which we can combine each and every single or other screen. So right now in over here, first of all, on the index, which we need to define a home header. Okay, so what we're gonna do, I'm gonna create another component which will be home header.tsx rnfes. So that should be home header. So that home header going to be as the pretty much defined. So we can just pass that, I think. So after the safe area view, I think I'm not going to use the safe area view here. I'm going to just use the view here, which going to say the text, or we can just simply pass that our home header here. So that will be home header at the beginning of the layer of top. And of course, also for the class name, I think that by default, we need to also pass a class name. We can just simply pass a style, which is going to be, let's say, styles.container you can pass, or you can just pass that styles.wrapper. And here we're going to define the wrapper class name. That wrapper should be, let's say, I'm gonna pass simply passing a background color, and of course we need to put that one clone here. So background color, which going to be, let's say, app colors dot primary, not primary, background primary. So the background dot primary. Okay, so that would be the color. And now let's go back to our home header. We're gonna define each and everything, how our home header gonna look like and how it gonna react on certain position. So first of all, in the home header, we're gonna have our safe area view. Now here also you can use that the same pattern. Remember the pattern which we use at the top. So here we can use the wrapper. So if we use the wrapper, no need to use any other parameter. So we can go with the wrapper right here if we are willing to. But if we use the wrapper, remember wrapper is getting flex 1. So if you're using the wrapper, remember you need to pass the flex 1 here, otherwise you will not get the view. But if you are not using wrapper, that's up to you. You are okay, you can use anything you are looking for. But of course, again, I'm not gonna use wrapper right here. And why I'm not gonna use it, I told you, because there should be a bunch of things, because in the wrapper there is a padding horizontal, but here we are not going to use that padding horizontal position. So the same thing, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go with our safe area view. So safe area view here, and just passing that. So we have our home header. So in the home header, first of all, we're gonna in the top, and the defining the class name is pretty painful, because every time you need to write the class name. So what I'm gonna do, indefinitely in every single component, I'm gonna define the class name as this code going to be with you. So no worries about that. I'm gonna pass that code to you, so you're gonna have that. Okay, there is an error here, so because we need to import the platform. And I think CONTAI, yes, I don't want to keep any unhandled error here. So right now, as you see, I'm passing the container, which gonna having the background color. And remember the things which we did in the wrapper, the margin top. Okay, we have header. We're gonna explain whenever we're gonna use that. So no worries, forget about it right now. We're gonna just go one by one. So in our for safe area view, we're gonna having a style, and on that style should be styles.container. And in the container, what you're having, we are passing the background color, we are passing the margin top for our Android devices. And right now you can just pass open your Android, and I'll just show you why I need to provide that 35 pixel right here. So I just place hit the A, so it's gonna open my it will open my Android Studio for emulator. Let it run first. Okay, it's still capturing the previous application, but no worries, give it a time, it's gonna run here very soon. Okay, it's loading, means it's bundling our shopcart YT. And as you see, you can just see, I think whenever you were building, I'm running within my Mac OS. But because if you're using the for especially for the laptop or Windows, you can just simply go with the Android emulator, and it's very simple. You can follow the guideline to for connected, or you can use your own real devices for sure too. Right now, as you see, we have our home header, but why we are using that, I'm gonna just comment that one. I don't want to use that. And as you see, it's getting at the top. So that's the why in the notch, just to go out of the notch, you need to provide that ratio, otherwise it's gonna having the error. So that was just to show you why we are using that. But right now I'll go back to my iOS device. Okay, cool. So in the header, we're gonna have a certain kind of positioning here, and of course I didn't take that screenshot, but you can just fill the view how we're gonna do that. Okay, so first of all, what we're gonna do, we're gonna have a logo here. So what I will do, this will be our header portion. There I'm gonna have our logo. Okay, so for the logo, we're gonna create a separate component which gonna hold align our logo. So let's go here in the components, just create a logo.tsx. So in the logo, similar one. Okay, so that will contain our entire base thing to create the logo premises. So what I'm gonna do here, in the logo, there should be a touchable opacity. Touchable opacity gonna come from the React Native, and here I'm gonna pass that material icons. Okay, so in the material icons, we're gonna pass the icons name as the shopping cart. So should be shopping, let's say shopping dash cart. And also we're gonna pass the size here. The size should be, let's say 25. That's it. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna just import our logo right here. So logo, and you see one item is right there. Now what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna define the same ratio here. So I'm gonna just get the styles for it. So that should be our logo here, and that would be the style. One, it will be for our logo view, another should be for our logo text. Now over there, we need to also define some of the color for that. So the color should be, let's say color, and that color should be coming from app colors primary 700. So it should be a kind of green color. Now that's the best part, is that if you want to change the theme, you can just change the color plate here and automatically your entire application theme would be changed. So that's the beauty of using that color combination. Okay then. Now, first of all, in that touchable opacity, we need to provide that style. That style should be that styles.logo view. So that would be taking the view, and in the logo view, we are making that flex direction row and align item center. But right now, we need to provide the text. Otherwise, what kind of things we're gonna make it center? And in the over here, I'm gonna just pass the name, which would be shop cart, and also for the text, we're gonna provide the style. The style should be styles.logo text. So that's the shop cart icon we are having right here. Now, whenever we click, we want to go back to our home route. So what we're gonna do here, we're gonna use that router. So should be a router, and that should be use router. And that use route need to be imported from a React Navigation React Native, but we're not gonna use that, as you see, because we are not setting those things. So we are not gonna use that React Navigation routing process. We're gonna use that Expo router, which gonna having that file-based compatibility, and that's what you're gonna use that. So in the on press, so whenever we're gonna go any of the routes, so that should be not router dot in the home parameter. We're gonna go /, and as you see, we have our /home. We're gonna have our /tab. We're gonna just simply go in /home. So whenever we're gonna click, we're gonna press, we are going to go /home. And how you can change check that, if we go at the shop, let's say go back to the shop, and over here I'm gonna define that our home header. Okay, so now we are at the shop. If we click, as you see, we are now passing here at the home. We are in the profile. If we click on okay, it doesn't have in the profile. So in the shop, if we click, we're just coming back to the home. So that's what it's gonna do. It's gonna always render or take us to back to our home screen. So that's the header gonna do to us. So this is that's not the header, that's the logo gonna do to us. So after the logo, we're gonna have a certain kind of things. We need to define other parameter. So first of all, over here, I'm gonna provide a style, and that style should be styles.header. And what kind of things happening to the header? As you see, flex direction raw, align item center, justify content space between. We're going to provide a border bottom width and border bottom color, and padding 5, padding horizontal 20. Because of that border bottom, that's the why we are not using the wrapper. Otherwise, if we use the wrapper, we need to be spacing around. So that's what we don't want to do. So that's why we will specify it right here. Now, as you see, so there should be two certain kind of scenario here. So we're gonna render another view, and on that view, we're gonna render another touchable opacity here. And in the opacity, we're gonna having an and design icon. So and design, and now you can go with the vector icons. You can search the icons only for like the and design, only for the foundation. But as I told you, I will try to cover up. I will try to use any icons as I wish to. So the name should be, let's say, search 1. So that's the name for the icon, and the size should be, let's say, 20. And also I'm gonna make a color. The color should be app colors dot primary, and I'm gonna go with that .700 ratio. That's it. So as you see, we have our icon here. So right now, what we can do here, as you see in the search, whenever we're gonna on press on the search, we need to define that to our, we need to take back somewhere. First of all, I'm gonna go and make that one style here. So style, and that should be taking that styles.icon container. And in the icon container, you can see we are making flex 1. So apart from keeping that icon like the logo value, entire space it will take. And then we're gonna make that flex direction row and an item center, justify content flex in. I'm gonna just make it like that, and as you see, it's directly coming up here. And if we just make that of also the center, it will be on the center. But if we make the flex in, it will always keep at the end. So that's the way it could be better. Now for the touchable opacity here, we will provide a styles here. So style should be okay, that should be styles dot, it will be search button. So I'm gonna keep a similar name to all together. So search button, what it's gonna do, having a background color which a primary color 50 and the border radius 5, width 35, height 35, and an item center justify center, margin left 8. So every single icon should be left align 8, and then border width 1, border colors which is primary 500, position relative. So that's the icon here. If we click, it should be taking back to a search. So first of all, we need to get our router. So const router should be use router from Expo. And the similar thing, what we need to do is that whenever we're gonna press on it, so as you remember that we just make that router dot push. We can just simply passing that. Right now we doesn't have that route. Okay, if we just go in search, you can see it will provide an error. If we click, it will go in the like this screen is not exist, go back to home screen. So that's what is happening right now, but we're gonna do it later, or we can create it right now. So in the similar way, what we need to do is to create another parameter. So first of all, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna create that route. Okay, so one, it will be our search.tsx rnfes. So that should be search screen, and then we're gonna have another one which going to be our card. So let's say card.tsx rnfes should be card screen. And then we're gonna also have another which would be, let's say, favorites.tsx rnfes should be our favorites screen. So this is the 3 more route, and whenever I click creating those route, as you can see, those alignment is happening right here, which we don't want at all, because remember it's looking pretty bad, right? So what we're gonna do, we're gonna go back to our layout here. After defining the tree layout, you're gonna go at the back. So the same thing, we're gonna use that, or you can just copy any one of that. So should be tabs.screen, and in this screen we're gonna provide, first of all, we're gonna provide the name of the screen. So the name should be, let's say we create first the search, right? The search, and over here we're gonna define an option here. So in the options, we can define a lot of other things. First of all, the href, which going to be like there should be no href for that one. And also we can define that tab bar style, and on that tab bar style we can now pass that one that it should be, let's say, display, and that display should be we need to make that one none. So as you can see here, there is one is list, so the search, it will not be visible. So I'm gonna copy it 2 more time. One should be for our, let's say, that should be favorites. Another one should be for our I think cart. Yeah, if we save that, and you can see okay, it's just getting in the, because it's not the toolbar, it will not be available. Okay, so right now, as you can see, we have our home, we have shop, we have profile, but other 3 routes is nowhere to be visible. Okay, so I think this is the point to create that. I think the tab bar style in the card, for right now, I'm gonna show tab bar anywhere. Okay, later on I'm gonna remove whatever I don't want. I will just highlight it. That for right now, I'm gonna show tab bar in any screen, so that it will not be disappointed for me to go backwards. So let's go in our home header. So here we're gonna just render another thing, which would be that on press, and on that particular on press, we're gonna just go that router dot, we can just simply push that, and over here right now it gonna, as you see, is now available for me, and I can just go any screen I'm looking forward to, and it will work perfectly aligned and perfectly fine. So this is the same fundamental things which I'm gonna use in all through 3 and other parameter. So if we click on the search, as you can see, we are here in the search screen. So let's go back to here. So it should be having 2 separate portions. So I'm gonna copy that, and then I'm gonna paste it right here instead of the search. So the next one, it should be for having the favorite. So I'm gonna make that not in and design. I'm gonna go with that, let's say, it should be material community icons, and the icon name should be it should be heart outline. So as you see, we have heart icon, but in the heart icon, it will not go in the search, but it will go in the /favorites, and also it gonna show us the count, like the number. So what I'm gonna do here in the search button, if you go back there, we made a position relative so that whatever we're gonna keep upon in between, we can pass an absolute value. And for absolute value, what I'm gonna do within the touchable opacity, I'm gonna take another view here, and on that view I'm gonna provide a text here. Right now I'm gonna just provide a 0 parameter. That's it, the 0. So in that view I'm gonna provide a style, which is going to be this styles.item view, and for the text also it's gonna be style and that styles.item text. So in that items view, we are making the position an absolute position, top 5, right -5, and border radius 500. If we just skip the border radius, you can see it's taking the full view of that with 16, height 16, align item center, justify center, border width 1, border color, app colors primary 500, and border like the background color is getting the primary color. So that's the how you can just go and align that. And for the item text, font size 10, colors, app colors, accent color, and font weight 800. So that's the fancy thing which we did so far, and later on we're gonna provide our value from the favorite value and also for the card value from the card instances. But right now I'm gonna just go with the small portion of that 0 value here. After that, we also gonna have our search icon. So there is the heart icon, then we're gonna having our card icon, so should be card outline, and instead of going to favorite, it will go back to our card. So if we go in the card, it's getting the card screen, and of course the screen it will popping up, no worries about that, but we're gonna just wrapping those things. So now you know how we can do that. So this is the way we can just go and render our home header. So this basically just creating a simple proportion, how we can see the scenario, how we can view the enter point, and how we did things pretty much in a good way. So right now, before going any other parameter, we need to know how we can bring back our properties, like our there should be the featured products and others. So this must saying there should be like to gaining back in our home proportion, we should be bringing back our product. So that's the we need to provide a state proportion, and then we can go and fetch the text properly. So first of all, I'm not gonna go and provide that one right now. I'm gonna just divide, just providing and featured products and set featured products, and also can be our categories and other proportions. So we're gonna go and just fetch that one very easy way. So now for fetching the products, like for the product data, because as we're gonna fetch from the API side, we're gonna cover up two separate things which we're gonna set up, like using the Zustand premises. So by which we're gonna handle Zustand, which gonna provide a real-time store management. So it will be a very simple and easy way to go, and also you're gonna having an API segment just to go in case to just prefetch and make that things to happen. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna create we're gonna close everything here. We're gonna create a lib folder here. In that lib, we're gonna just create another file which will be api.ts. Okay, so in the API we need to provide almost like to make fire up whatever the things we're gonna happen to be there. First of all, we're gonna provide like an interface, what kind of products it will be there. So we're gonna first make that API URL. So our API underscore URL, it should be URL it equal to should be our, we're gonna go try to use the fake store API, especially for to go and combine the data from them. So let's just go for fake store API. So fakestoreapi.com, and that's the one. It should be API you're gonna use there. And of course for there we can just go and read documentation. We can just fetch their products. As you see in the products, we can go and make the success, and that's how we can just simply get all products. So it will render all the products, and of course it will do lots of other similar things. So if we just go here fakestoreapi / let's say you will go to make the products, so it's gonna render all of our products. So as you see, every single product having ID, having title, price, description, category, image, and rating itself. So here we can just use that fakestoreapi.com, and later on we're gonna provide accordingly the way we are looking forward. And of course we also can define a type folder here. So type.ts, Here we can just simply pass that export interface. That should be our products. So product, I think product, it will be fine. And in the interface, as you see, a product having a like the ID, which is going to be having a number, I think number. Then we're gonna having a title, and the title going to be a string. So title is string. Also the price, which will be number. Description, I think description yeah, okay, I don't want to go with the auto suggestion here because it just keep annoying those things. So we have the ID, number, title, and so that's ID, title, price, description, category, and then it's gonna go with passing the rating, which is the rate is the number, count is also a number. So this is the structure of our product. Not so much and more thing. There's a similar category, similar criteria, but we're gonna fetch the product from there. So right now I'm gonna close that, or I will just minimize that one. So this is kind of our type here. So let's go back to our api.ts file as we are having our API URL. So right now what we're gonna do, we're gonna start suggesting our like getting our products. So that should be, let's say, get all products. So in that way, you can, whenever you are having an API, you can simply switch that. So first of all, we can just make a get products function, right? So we're gonna just make that const get products, and on that get products, it should be a asynchronous function here, and that function going to passing our products. As you see, the type should be the product, or we can just simply pass that a function which going to be passing a promise, and that promise going to handle within that the type of product, and that product type should be an it will be an array of product type. And over here, it should be passing a simple arrow function here. So in that simple arrow function, we need to define what kind of value and variable we are looking forward. Okay, why we are doing that? So that should, okay, I think it's my bad. It should be something similar. Yeah, it was good. It was easy to go. Over here we can use like inbuilt fetch method, or you can also go with the Axios. Both way, I will use here the fetch method, and also in the checkout I'm going to use the Axios method. So in both way, you're going to have an idea which you want to follow. So right now what you're going to do, you're going to use a try catch value here. So in the catch value, if we are having an error, we're going to just make that simply, it will throw the error here. And of course in the console log, we want to see what kind of error we are facing. So that should be our console.log, and here we're gonna pass the message that network let's say response was not okay. Okay, that should be our log, and here we can also find out our error message. Okay, so in the type block, we're gonna make that const response, and that response should be is equal to, we're gonna make it await, because as we're gonna talk within the database structure here. So in the fetch, we're gonna pass that it should be coming up within a backend formulation. First of all, we're gonna go with like say it gonna just passing that it should be coming up with fetch API URL /products. So it's gonna fetch all the products, and here if the response is not okay, they're gonna throw a new error which should be network response was not okay. So that should be our combination, and over here we can simply export the method which should be exporting the get methods get products function. So this is how we're gonna combine it all together. So that would be one scenario, and furthermore we're gonna have a lot of other scenarios. So in the home page, we should be using that, like say we should be using our products, we should be using our categories, and also we're gonna having our methods. So we can also find out our I think, yeah, we also need to get our categories. So should be const let's say it should be passing that, I'm gonna just go with a comment method. Okay, should be it should be get all categories. Okay, so that would be a simple instances by which we're gonna just define all the categories. So as you see, the categories should be coming up with a get categories, and same async method pollution, it will be there, and then like all the categories gonna coming up a string of categories, and then the try value we're gonna pass in the response, which should be API URL /products /categories, and if categories okay, returning the categories, otherwise handling the error. So that's where we're gonna have that get categories. So this is the symbol combination, and overall we are having that. And I think we should be propagating one more, which should be, let's say, I think right now we're gonna go with those two. So after that, if we go over here in our application, we're gonna use our Zustand for our store management. So this is the one we're gonna use that to combine it all together. And if we go back to our documentation for the Zustand, it also is a very tiny piece of library, providing a lot of top-notch features, which is really enjoying, and integration is very simple. So as you see, you need to just go and install that one, then you are good to go. I'm gonna copy that and I'm gonna remove it, because if you are with me, you need to follow me, and others everything it will be fine. I'll just take one more terminal here, the default terminal which I'm using. And here, as you see, I need to go back to the directory. If I put ls, I need to go cd into a client app, and then I need to pass that npm install Zustand, otherwise it will not work properly. So in the Zustand, we need to create a store first. So at the root layer of that, I'm gonna create our store, should be store, and over here I'm gonna create another file which is going to be, let's say, product store.ts. So that should be our, like, for combining all together for our product method. All the product method we're gonna handle it by so far. So first of all, in that store, we need to just import our create method. So should be coming from our create, and that create should be coming from, let's say, Zustand. Okay, Zustand. So right now here, there's a lot of other parameter you can interfere, you can interact, because we're gonna use the auth store, we're gonna use a lot of other things. So whenever the portion here to keep using the middleware and other parameter, you are always welcome to go and, like, you can use the persister to go and make those things in saving in real time. That's up to you how you can just go and put a line all together. But I think we can simply use that here too. We can use also another piece of library, which is the React Native async storage, because if we want to set the middleware all together, then we also better to use that. So if we go in npm, we can just simply search for that one, which is the React Native async storage, the async storage library we can use directly. So first of all, we need to do one more thing, is that we need to install that. So copy it and keep it right here. So that's the one we're gonna just combine it all together to create our asynchronous storage. Okay, so we're gonna import that, and we're gonna make Zustand to create our store. So we have two certain kind of things, and also we need to use another two parameter which need to be coming from Zustand middleware, which should be that create JSON storage persist for the Zustand middleware. So this is the two kind of things which we're gonna use by so far. So first of all, we need to combine what kind of interface it will define all together. So first of all, it will be defining that our product state, and that product state going to be a passing that we will first get the products, and in the products it gonna define that our, let's say, it should be a product, and that product type should be coming from that product type. And also we're gonna define that categories, so categories, and that categories also should be coming from the string value, which is going to be coming an array of string value. So this is the two kind of value which we are going to have it all together. So right now we can pass the method and value all together. So as we're having the two set of value here, so we can now simply rerun our, let's say, to create our store. So should be, let's say, export, and that should be const, it should be use products store, and that product store going to be combined with the function of create, and that create method going to be combining the method which we are having our product state, as we are defining only simply having a two state variable here, so nothing more fancy here. So after defining here, you need to be very careful here when you are defining, because it will be a little bit Humpty Dumpty right now. So here we need to get through like two like here we're gonna pass that persist, and within the persist we need to provide two methods. One, it should be set, another should be get. So these two methods gonna formulate our entire segment here, and then we need to return whatever the value, whatever the variable we are going to combine it all together. So after this, as you see, when we finishing declining the method, so here we need to provide that our, let's say it should be coming up with the name as the product storage, and in the storage we're gonna make that create JSON storage, and here we will pass that with a string storage, so which you're gonna create an asynchronous memory which can be helpful for our mobile application. Again, what I really want to advise you that every single development process, whatever we are going to view right here, we are forecasting alongside for our for application layer, not for the website layer. So you need to be very careful when we are attempting or we are explaining or we are accessing those things. Now we need to provide our two separate values. So first of all, the one it should be to fetch products method. So we should be having a two certain kind of method. So in the get set value, we're going to provide the initial value here, which should be array of product here, and also for the categories that should be same thing. We have two certain kind of value right now. So instead of directly fetching the product through the API to the screen, we are going through the Zustand middleware, which is going to handle our storage. I know it will be a little bit a shaky way, but it's gonna loading faster. It's gonna help the application not to go in a heavy way. So we'll try to manipulate that sooner or later. So in the category, in the product, first of all, we're gonna create a method here right now, which is gonna be, let's say, also we will make that loading should be, let's say, false, and also error should be, let's say, the error it will be null. Our first method, it should be our fetch products, which is going to be a asynchronous function here, and we're gonna just define how we can combine and just fetch the product right here. We will use the try catch value, and in the value we're gonna go with the error. Right now I'm gonna put any error properties. Later on we can combine that. So in that value, if we are having an error, we're gonna set the error. Let's say error should be error dot message, and also we're gonna make that as the loading instances. It should be loading should be false. So this is the one set of parameter here we are defining right now. So I think we will use the try block. So in the try block, we will set the value here. So first of all, we will make our loading as true. Okay, so loading should be true whenever we're getting the product, and error should be, first of all, we're gonna provide the error as null. So means we are loading the product, nothing should be there. Now we need to compare to get back our product. So let's see if we can get that. So const products, it should be is equal to await, and that we need to provide the method right now here, await get products. So here we can just get our product. So that should be not awaitee, should be await. So this is now here, as you see, I think, or yeah, oh my god, that's a 3. Okay, so now here what we are defining right now, it should be passing a combination of layer or a strategic layer, we can say, and of course in the type, as we are defining, introducing two value, which is the loading is the boolean value and the string method is the null, and also for the fetch products, also we can now pass that another type. We can just go with make that, let's say it should be product actions, and in the product actions, first one should be, let's say, fetch products, and the fetch products, again it should be a simple function which gonna return the void of the promise, and also that fetch categories, same thing, it gonna happen passing the promise, that's it. So it gonna utilize that one for entertaining that two promises. So we're gonna define the two function to retrieve our two products from the API to our application layer. So right now, forget about that error, it's gonna just wiping out once, because if you just escape that, I believe the error which will disappear. So the error is coming because it didn't find the type for it. So first of all, we are having our product right here. So what it's gonna do, we are passing the product, and after grabbing the product here, we can just simply set the product. Remember, we will just pass the products here, we will just pass the loading instead should be false, And also we can pass the filter products. Right now in the filter product we can pass the entire product, because we're gonna have two segments. One, it will be horizontal, another it will be vertical. So two scrolling parameter we're gonna use. So to do that, we can just simply define that our filter products structure. So we can just go at the top layer. After the products, we can go and create another one, should be a filter products, which should be a product criteria here. And over here we can just pass that filter products ratio here, and we can just pass that, let's say, filter products. We can just drop that products within it. So whatever products we have, that should be aligned off within the filter products criteria. That's it, nothing more of that. Okay, so this is the I think this is the combination here which we define to create our fetch products criteria. So we have our asynchronous function here. We made our try okay, also we need to define our filter products here. Should be filter products, not like that, should be like that. Okay, save. So we have our segment done. So as you see, we have our error state, we have our category state. I believe we are, yeah, I think that's cool. So we have our fetch products. After that, we also need to define our, let's say, fetch categories. So that fetch categories also should be coming up with a asynchronous function. And here we need to define how we can fetch our categories. Remember, we made the function, so we know how to do that. So this is the same kind of way we're gonna do that, which can define here to bring back our all of the categories. And whenever you get the categories, we're gonna set the categories on the category layer, and then loading false and everything. So whenever we're gonna fetching the data, loading is true, error is null. Whenever we are fetching that, okay, cool, after fetching we are making that state is the null. So initially we are just loading in that current kind of good way. Okay, so this is the, I think, much more valuable thing here, and we will do a lot of other things, but first right now is that. I know this kind of method is kind of old method, but it's very effective and efficient, and I'm going to show you why I'm using that. And also you can directly use the fetch method and provide the, like, if I want to use that method right here, you can do the same thing. It's up to you. So right now, as we are having the data is ready, as you see, we are having the feature products, set feature products, and as we defined previously, remember, as the type it will be as the product. So I'm going to just pass the type variation here, which is going to indicating that the product should be our product data right here. And of course it would be an array of product, not just simply a product. Okay, so right now also we can now get our product back from there. So should be, we can now passing within the object layer, and that object should be coming up from our use products. Remember, we have our store, so all the function, all the parameter state we can define from there. So in our products, we have our products, we have our categories, we have our loading instances, we have our error instances, we have our fetch products function, we have our fetch categories function. So all the functions we created beforehand, so now we can easily take it right here. And also the safe area view and the text, which is not I'm using right now, so remove it. So over here we can define whatever the things we need to provide. So I'm going to provide that use effect function. So in the use effect, whenever anyone is just mounting over here, so it's coming within my application layer, what I'm going to do, I'm going to just fetch our products and fetch the category. So every time my application is mounted, so anytime is coming in the home, so if I just try to make the lock here, I should be able to see our products. So if we go in the client, and as you see right now, it will be nothing. So as you see, it's getting the empty. If I just reload, you see my application getting mounted. So that okay, it's also getting empty. Okay, so it's not working, right? Why? It should work. Okay, React components is okay, so let's just go past that. That should be our products. If we go shop, if we go home, nope, nothing is happening. It means the use effect is not working, so we need to go start tuning a bit here. debug why the error is happening and why we cannot retrieving the data, so we can just simply go in our, let's say, the product store here, where we are just passing that one method here to just log if anything returning here. And also we can go in the response here. Let's see whatever we are receiving in the response, so it should be a response. Okay, response, and then we can just simply pass the response. Okay, response was not okay, so network request failed. That's the common issue can be happen because the server can return the error, but we're gonna fix that. Right now you can see that we are having the product data as so far. It just sometimes having to be the problem of using that, especially for because that you see that fake store API sometimes is getting the crap of that, not loading it properly, but it will fetch the data particularly by so far. So we're having our products in our index, so that's the products we are grabbing right now. So as you're having the products, we can also fetch our, like, say we can make like the feature products. So in the products we can have a two certain of conversion done, and we're gonna run another use effect parameter. So use effect here, we will gonna render, we're gonna reverse the same products, we're gonna just revert it. So what we're gonna do, if we have that our products dot length is bigger than 0, so our products dot length, if it's bigger than 0, then we're gonna set one kind of things, is that we're gonna just make that reverse products. So that reverse products going to be just to happen to be an array of products, and after that we're gonna just reverse it, dot reverse. And why we're doing that, so as you see in that feature products, we're gonna just pass that our let's say it should be passing that reverse products. Okay, so we're gonna just pass that entire products directly, and that should be as products of like the array of product. So now we are having our products, we are having our reverse product. So what is saying here, let's say what is mentioning here, maximum depth, I think we are mismatching some, oh okay, there we didn't okay, we need to stop that, otherwise it's gonna mount all together, and of course the dependency should be coming as an array. Okay, so right now we are okay, I'm gonna reload it one more time because we add the dependency later on, otherwise it gonna just popping up the error. So now we are having those. Also from the API, I think I'm putting a log somewhere here in the products, no need to add the log. So right now I'm gonna close others. So as we are having our products, right, so we can now define in a proper way. So first of all, we can now go and make something in a very good way. We're gonna create a loading spinner, so in that way it should be providing a good view of that. So it should be, let's say it should be a loading spinner dot tsx or and FES. So that loading spinner going to be combining a loading instances by which our loading variation can come. So first of all, we need to get some of that parameter here. So in that loading spinner, we will going to be coming, there should be some of the props should be coming here. Over here, we can just simply define that loading spinner props. It can be size, small or large, should be color string, test screen, full screen, boolean. If it's full screen, it will be full screen. Otherwise, we can just provide in that default variation. And also here, we need to pass that as the React and functional component, then passing that loading spinner props. Over here within the object parameter, we can get the size. So the size also it can be optional, and here either it can be small, okay, either it can be a small size, or it can be a size of, let's say it should be just a simple notation. It can be small or okay, this is my bad. It should be, the default should be taking that small size. And for the colors, you see, instead of grabbing that hard coded, we can just simply get that color should be a string value, and also the text value should be coming a string value. Okay, the color, I think not that. Okay, the color should be, the default color should be, let's say app colors dot primary, and I'm going to provide a 500 of color variation here. Okay, what's wrong here? Dot 500. Okay, that should be the color, and the text, default text going to be loading, and okay, the size. Okay, that should not be. Yeah, that was my problem. That's why I hate this this one. Okay, this is really killing my time to providing me some of the bad notation here. Okay, so the size, we're getting the full size. I think the small. I think by default I'm gonna take the large size here. So okay, so that should be similar of that. So the size getting large, color should be app colors to primary 500, text is loading, full screen is by default is false. So now we're gonna define two separate things. If we have that full screen, so means the full screen is true, then we're gonna define something. Otherwise, we're gonna define something. So first of all, I'm gonna define the variation of that style here. So the style should be kind of something like that. It's gonna be a container and align items, and also I'm gonna just coming back to that in a soon. So if we have the full screen view, what we want to do, we want to provide a view, and in the view we will provide a activity indicator. So activity indicator need to be imported from React Native. As you see at the top, it's coming from the React Native. And over here we will define the size. The size should be the size which we have. Also define the color. Color should be the color which it's going to be defined. And of course, if there is a text, and then we're gonna provide the text, and the text should be the text, and style should be the text properties. And also in the view, the style should be, let's say, not like that, should be styles dot full screen. Okay. Now, what's are going to have in the full screen style? As you see, flex 1, align item center, justify content center, background color providing the primary background, which is the white. And now this gonna happen once is full screen mode is on. If the full screen mode is not on, the same central positioning going to be happen. But here it's gonna be container, padding 16, align item center, justify center. That's it. So that's the loading property or loading spinner we are going to use right now. So let's go back to our topic here. So over here, if we just simply pass that, if we have no loading, or if we are having loading, and also if our products okay, we're gonna pass the loading instance here. No need to pass the products.length. If we're gonna return that, let's say we're gonna passing that loading spinner. Okay, and also we're gonna make it as full screen. That's it. And as you see, the loading is just coming to be happen to be at the top. So and also we can define like if we have the loading but we doesn't have the product, I'm going to just pass that, let's say products dot length is equal to 0. As you see, we are having the product, so it's just removing that, but I'm going to go with the loading. But right now, if we set the loading, if we just make the annotation done, I believe it's not working the way it's supposed to be. Okay, the loading spinner is not working properly. Okay, the loading is not providing the loading variation. Like if we have no loading, okay, we have the loading instances over here. In that full screen which we are providing here, we are passing the text. But where is our loading? That is annoying. Okay, let's reload one more time. Instead of getting the loading here, let's just remove that. I want to see our loading here. I want to see what kind of spinner we're getting. Loading spinner, and that should be full screen. Yeah, it's right here, but we're not fetching the indicator. But did we import the indicator? Of course we import it. So our loading is not, you see the loading, it just happened to be working like that, but it should not be. It should be returning the actual value. So from where we are, okay, yeah, components loading spinner, that's the one we did, right? So the component loading spinner, so that's the loading spinner we have. So we passed the full screen method, so it should defining that. Which loading we are exercising right now? We don't know yet. Okay, it's coming this one. So our full screen by default is getting false. So we are passing that full screen. Okay. True. But where is our indicator? Okay, I think it's not grabbing the size. Okay, so the size by default is getting large or small. So size should be, let's say, large. Nope. I think we are missing one more properties, because as we did that, I think we need to provide within a safe area view. Okay, if we just go reload that safe area view, yeah, that was the problem only. So our thing was working perfectly fine. We're not passing or encompassing within the safe area view. That was the problem here. So whenever we are gonna passing the loading instances, what we can do here, we can just simply passing within a wrapper. That's it. That's fine. Now you can see here it can combine it all together. And also the spinner tag here, we can now, whenever we have our flex justify center, ln item center, and it's not grabbing, why it's not coming with the full screen property? That is really my talk right now. We have full screen, right? So by default full screen is false, but we are providing the full screen. So if we just pass that value here, okay, we are not passing the indicator value here. Anyway, it will be fixable. For right now, we can see, we can now view our loading parameter. If we just go here and if we reload, we should be able to see our loading is right. Okay, so loading is working. Okay, good. We can make more of the things later on. So we're gonna just keep it like that. So that should be a loading parameter, and also after the loading we can also pass an error parameter, which is going to be coming within the safe area view. And also you can see basically we can go and match that container here. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna grab everything, whatever the parameter we're gonna use right here. So copy that, and here I'm gonna pass that all of the data ratio. So as you can see, I need to import the text. Okay, so you can see now also for this one, this value here, instead of that wrapper, I think we can just go and combine it all together. So that would be good. So, and that should be providing our spinner. Full screen. Okay, so if we have loading, as you see, the request error is coming, so that's fine. Okay, so you see the loading error. So now y is in the middle. If you go in the container, flex 1 background color is getting the primary. And also if you just see in that error container, flex 1 ln item center, justify content center, padding 24, so everything aligning it all together. And don't worry about that network request error. It can be happen to be there for this tribe, because you know the fetch method can be combining it all together sometimes. But there is another way which you can make it more top notch. How? It's very simple. You can just make let's say we can also use another variation called getting the product in real time, and that time it will be, I think, properly aligned. But right now I'm gonna open my, and as you see, it's just fetch this time here. So we have the products right now. So what we can do here, whenever we are having the products, so we can now go and use that view to create the product instances. So there is another view, and within that view we will use that scroll view. So scroll view from React Native, and over here we gonna just go and pass that container parameter. So take another view, within that view grabbing one more, then passing the text, and within the text we're gonna pass that, let's say, categories. So we should be able to see the categories menu. Now at the top view here, put styles. So in that style here, we're gonna pass that, let's say, styles.contain container. Okay, so I think I'm gonna make leave that this fetch categories, you know. So that should be every time whenever I'm saving, it's just changing. So I'm gonna make that if we have any change in the products, so you know that time it will stop to creating that mess. Okay, so right now if we happen to be see, we have the contain container. This is the padding horizontal 20. As you see, there is a very top-notch padding container view is coming. Okay, TAI. So that is the content container providing a padding view parameter. So the scroll view here, we're gonna make that show vertical indicator. That should be false because it should be a vertical parameter, not horizontal. So false. And after that also we will make that contain container style, which should be, let's say, style dot scroll container view. And in the view we are having the padding bottom 300, so the entire page structure, the products and other ratio, it will not go overflow together. Okay, then we have the category portion here. So it should be style, and then style should be styles dot, let's say, category section. So that category section going to be combining, as you see, margin top 10, margin bottom 16. So that's how the category stance can work. And after that, in that text view here, we can just simply pass that as a section header. So the style should be, let's say, styles dot section header. So in the section header, we are defining to the parameter flex direction low, just row, just define content space between, align item center, margin bottom 16. So that's the ratio which we are toggling through. I think this is making me much more annoying. Okay. Now what we can do here, as we see, so we have our category section here. So in the category, we can just simply go in the class name, not the class name. I'm just getting back to our tailwind compromising thing. So over here, that should be the section title. So this is gonna combining all the title together to just to be see how the menu can be. Now after that portion, we gonna have another scroll view. So scroll view. So before we have one, now it will be another scroll view, and of course that scroll view, the horizontal should be true, so that would be horizontal. And then also show horizontal indicator should be false, as the horizontal, it will be horizontal, so we don't want to show the horizontal indicator by so far. Now in this scroll view, we're gonna make that our categories. So categories dot map, we're gonna take every single thing as a category. And to that category, what we're gonna do, we're gonna return within the same line. First of all, we're gonna use that a touchable opacity, and on that opacity, we're gonna make an design. That design going to be happen to be an icon, which going to be named as, let's say, tag. And also we're gonna provide that a size. So the size should be, let's say, 16. And also you're gonna provide the color. So the color should be, let's say, app color. Let's say app colors text. App colors dot text. I think not the text, but I'm gonna just keep it as primary dot 500. So that should be one tag. And after the tag variation, we're going to also happen to be a text, which going to be, let's say, our, as it's just coming to be a category. So should be the category dot, I'm going to just indefinitely take that character as from the 0, and we're going to make that to uppercase plus the category slice 1. So it should be passing the value of the category itself. Okay, I think I may misspell one more integer here. Okay, what I did wrong. Anyway, I think instead of that, it should be this one. Yes. So as you see, we have in the category, whatever the category we are rendering, we are just passing that the category value here. And also for the style, it should be, let's say, style dot category, not that, category text. Okay, so now as you see, electronics, jewelry, men's clothing, women's clothing, so that's all are the categories which we are having right now. And by so far as you're having the categories, we need to also provide some of the class name for it. Let's say for the class name, we should be passing the style, and that style should be, let's say, category button. So if we go in the category button, we are making that flex direction raw. So as you see, that letter and that icon view should be passing align it all together. As you see, now we have a very top-notch view here. And by the way, you can also arrange that. You see, you want to be not to having that view properties, right? So what we can do, as you see, we are having that padding horizontal. We can stop it, right? You see, entire padding is gone, but we can now make that padding. Let's say I'm gonna make the left padding, so left padding should be 20. Okay, so as you see, now the left padding gonna be in so far, but the right padding, it will not be applicable for that scenario. So in that way, you can just have a very good scenario and very good parameter to be working on that. And again, so right now, as you see, your category is safe. So but in that way, you can make that. If you wanted to, you can do it. So I would love to have that. So it will know there should be more scrollable things, or more items can be all together there. Okay, right now also for, so that's the way we can now pass that. So whenever we click, we can now go and make the other things is done. So I think whenever we're gonna press on that on press value here, I want to make something. So on press, remember, it's gonna go directly with that parameter. So I'm gonna create a function. So navigate to category, and here I'm gonna pass that our category. So it should be category. And of course, I need to write that function. Right now we doesn't have the function. Let's go at the top layer. Here I'm gonna create the function. So should be, or I think here I'm gonna make that should be const navigate category. So here, you remember, we are passing that our category portion here, so we can just capture it. So category, which is just passing as a string value here. I'm going to make that router push here. So where I'm doing that, I need to also embed the router here. So should be const router is equal to use a router. Okay, use router from expo router. And overall here in the navigator parameter, I'm going to make that router dot push. And then I'm gonna pass that, let's say it will go to directly on that. If we just push that through, I'm gonna pass that path name. The path name should be, let's say /tab /category or /shop. So that's the category I'm gonna prefer. And in the params, I'm gonna just passing that category as category. So whenever I'm gonna click on that, it's gonna take me to our shop, wherever we are passing that our value of the shop, it will go and grab the shop. If we click on there, as you see, we are coming here in the shop. And of course, as we map through, we didn't pass the key. We need to pass the key to go out of the error. So you will pass the key. The key should be, let's say, I'm gonna pass the default key as the category. That's it. So our error will be disappear. So right now we are happen to be get the initial value and others. And if we click, you can see we are having to the shop, and we are just coming back right here. So everything working perfectly fine. We have our category segment. We now is so we can just skip that scroll view here, so which is just aligning the category. Now after the scroll view here, after passing that view, we can have another view. Okay, so that's the view gonna handle all of the feature categories. So that's the combination of the feature item going to be there. So remember, at the top layer we are having okay, I'm gonna just remove that navigation right now. At the top layer we have categories. The similar way, we are making the section header. We are making the section header as the featured products, and we are passing that the touchable opacity of that the featured products all. So now in the section header, remember that this is not look so good. So we'll go in the section header, and in the section header we're gonna make that a padding right. Okay, so padding right should be 20. Yeah, now you can see it's gonna be coming here all together in a good fashion and good way. So after that, as we are having that our section title, Now we can just render a flat list. So flat list also need to be imported from React Native, and in the flat list we're gonna pass the data should be, let's say, our feature products, and after that we can also pass the key extractor. And on that key structure, everything I'm gonna taking as the item, and over here that should be item.id, and I'm gonna make that to string just to make that perfectly aligned and type it all together. And after that value here, as we are passing the flat list, we need to also, I'm going to make the flat list as horizontal, so it can be scrollable horizontal, and show horizontal indicator should be is equal to be a false value here. And after that we need to pass that render item, otherwise it will not provide the data ratio. And in the render item, I'm gonna pass everything as item structure, and from there I'm gonna inline return whatever the things I'm looking forward. I'm gonna return a view, and on that view let's just return a text. Okay, and let's say calling is as product, so we should be able to see the products. And also there should be another parameter which should be that contain container style, so that should be style dot a featured products container. So if you go here, you see right now I'm not putting any of those parameter. We have no style right here, but we can just individually provide the style, and as you see we have our structure pretty good done. Now what we can do, we can now assure to have our product card. So let's go back here, make a component, should be product card.tsx rnfes. Now instead of that directly here, we can simply pass our, let's say, product card, and also we can pass some of the variables here. In the product cards we're gonna pass the item, should be item. Also I'm gonna pass a variable name compact, so that's the variable which is gonna handle some of the properties. So we're gonna render it pretty soon. So right now as you see we are happen to be here, and as you see we are in the index, so every time we are changing anything our function is calling, but now we are in the product card. So I believe that error gonna be disappear and we will be out of our inflexible things. Now here we will pass three materials here. First of all, it's gonna be a type of product, another it's gonna be having a prop style prop from React Native, and view style from React Native 2. So what we are doing there, we are having a product, passing the product props, compact boolean custom style, which gonna be a style prop of the view style. So what we can do, we can pass product within this criteria, we can pass compact value, we can also pass the custom style. And as we are facing the error, remember every time fetching the product, you can do it like you are directly making a component, pass that value to other criteria. That's what I'm gonna do from on, so there will be no error parameter. So right now what I'm gonna do, the same way which we did before, we need to make that a react.fc, so that should be a functional parameter here, and then functional parameter should be product props, and of course I need to remove the one of that. Okay, and from here what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna use that all of the criteria which we are looking forward to. So it will have to be to have products, it's gonna have our a compact value, and the compact value it should be by default a false value, and also it's going to have the custom style. Now what I'm gonna do for our entire product segment, remember this is gonna be one of the heavy one, so I'm gonna just define all of the styles right here. So that should be our styles, and whenever I'm implementing we are going to be come one and on by so far. Okay, so as okay, there is an error we are facing here still, from where it's happened to be coming up from the item compact is true, is not assignable. Okay, why is not assignable? I think it can be okay. Anyway, also we need to provide a style here, should be style, and that style should be styles dot features product container. So I think the same we are just removing right now here the margin horizontal, but later on we're gonna use that. But one of the confusion which I'm facing, why we are having that product card showing the item, and also we are passing the okay, that's my bad. Okay, we can instead of item, I believe we're gonna pass the as the name of the product. Yeah, that should be in a good way. uh, okay, so the product is getting the item. So right now we're having all of the scenario. Now we can start working with our product card. So first of all, we can go and create this entire segment going to be happen to be a touchable opacity, but we can make entire thing as a touchable opacity, or we can just simply make our image as a touchable opacity. So whenever like clicking on the image, it's gonna take us to directly on the page for home. But also we can make entire thing. So we'll go in both way, and then we're gonna find out which one is getting better. So touchable opacity need to be coming from React Native, and over here passing in style, and that style going to be a style parameter but an array of style, because remember we can pass the card value here, or if there is a compact, there should be card as a compact card. So width 150 and margin right 12. So that's the one gonna happen to be here. But whenever we are getting a single card, we are not going to pass the compact, so it's gonna take entirely this segment. So the background color getting the primary, so means the white color, border radius 12, shadow is black, offset width 0, height 2, shadow opacity 0.1, shadow radius 8, elevation 2, overflow hidden, weight is 48%, and the margin bottom 16, border width 1, border color app colors gray. So this will not be working right now. Remember the width we are passing here 150. If we just change here, let's say I'm gonna make the width of 350, you can see right now it's gonna take 350, because remember our style is passing as a combination. If we have the compact, it's getting the compact card, and also we can pass the custom style if you want. If we just pass from here, if we just want to make that, let's say, custom style, and from here I'm gonna make that, let's say, a background color. Okay, so background color, let's say I'm gonna make it as red. So it should be coming as red. You see that, right? It appeared. Okay, if we just reload, I think there is the color is there. I just don't want to be okay, one more. Yeah, you see, that's the things which we can do by so far to making that one in that very good way. So right now, as we did that, so after this notion here, also we can make the active opacity here, and that should be 0.8. okay, after that we should be having one image. So we're gonna have a view. So let's say should be not the vive view, and on that view I'm gonna have an image tag. On that image tag we're gonna have a source parameter. On that source, the URI should be, let's say, it should be passing that, let's say, okay, we can directly compact, we can directly fetch the entire segment here. So let's say const, we can just get that is equal to let's say product. So from there we can just destructurize id, the title, and also price, image, and the category. So we can destructurize that. So in the URI, remember, we can just simply pass the image. That's it. So we are having image. Of course it will not get the value as soon as we need to provide the variation here. So the style should be style.image, and also we need to make that resize method, not the mode, not the method but the mode. So resize mode should be, by default is contain, but you know, it's better to pass that variable contain. So what we are doing here for the style of image, if we go back in the image, we are providing the width of 100%, height of 100%. So the full ratio of width property is gonna be concat and combine, and then it gonna just pass that value right here. Okay, so URI, any problem here? Okay, also we need to provide that image container, because you know we are passing the 100%, but which 100%? So 100% gonna coming from the image container, and if you see in the image container is passing the position as relative, height is 150, background color is going to be the app colors.background.primary, padding is 5. So it should be taking everything in a proper way. I believe that it has no corrupt. Okay, I'm gonna just reload that. Maybe there is some corrupted data, and of course one more things I need to remove. I don't want that things should be appearing. Okay, so let's see when it's loading. Data is right there. Why the image is not coming? That's really a confusion. This really a combine of confusion. Okay, we are passing the URI. I think we did everything in good way. Okay, what's the matter? Why? Okay, we'll try to do some content here. Let's see if it's working or not. So if we just pass the text here, we will pass the category. Let's say category. Okay, we are having that. But why we are not seeing the images? But we are fetching the images. If we just open here, you can see the product image right here. So we should have the image, but here it can't show the image. Why? In the image container, we have relative, we have hide. Also, if we're gonna put the weight, let's say I'm gonna provide it, let's say just to show, but no need that one. It should provide. Also close the relative. That is getting a bit of difficulty. Okay, right now we're gonna see why it's just fetching that. So we're gonna pass the style. So style should be styles dot, and then we're gonna pass the value of that content. So that content gonna be, as you see, padding 12, and background color is getting the secondary color. So after that, after the text of that category, we can get another text here. So it should be a text, and that here gonna get back our title. So that would be the product title here. So in the title, what we can do right now, we're gonna put a style, should be, let's say it should be styles dot, and then we're gonna grab the title style. And if we go back here, it's getting the font size 14, weight 500, colors app colors dot text primary, and padding bottom of 8. And after that, okay, after that, for this notation here, we're gonna provide a number of lines. I want to make that if it's getting the compact value, if it's compact, that it's gonna be one line. Otherwise, I'm gonna provide a 2 lines, so it's gonna just get a single line here. And also we can just provide that it will be let's say lip size mode, which gonna be as tail. Okay, so we are having our title. So right now, as we are having that, I think I'm gonna open my Android Studio. So Android sim emulator. Why we are not seeing the image? That's my founding right now. Okay, I think our iOS is good. Yeah, I can see the images. So now, as you can see, my product is loaded and all are visible and is quite fine. Now our homepage should be something like that. So remember, we are taking that compact value upon visible with the compact style. We're gonna keep our design ratio. Like as you see here at the feature product, we are not keeping the add to cart button, but in the newest arrivals, we're having that our add to cart button is enabled. So we're gonna make that feature twist and in a very good fashion, so that it could be adapt on that. So let's just go back to start visualizing our other thing. So first of all, as you can see here on that our category, we should have a style for our category. So I'm going to provide that style. So the style should be, let's say, styles dot category. Okay, so that would be our style. And if I go back to the category style, it's very simple. Font size is 12 and the colors is getting the tertiary color. Text transformation is getting capitalized, so the first letter should be bigger. As you see, the woman's clothing, the W and C is getting bigger, and capitalized text transfer, and also the margin bottom is 4. If I just remove that, you can see the title is getting a little bit upper. So that's what we did. Now as we did that, so we have our category style, we have our title. So right now we're gonna also do some kind of pattern here. So as you see, after the text, we're gonna have another view. Okay, so this view, we're gonna call that a view for, let's say, the text would be we're gonna find the text here, and then we're gonna we can make the price in a very global way, you know, that to format the text, but format the text ratio, the price ratio. But right now I'm gonna just make that price dot to fixed, just to go and keep with that. I'm gonna not to do any fancy thing here. So that could be our price, and this one over here I'm gonna make any style, and that is style going to be styles dot footer. So that's, it will be a pretty simple style here. And also for our price, I'm gonna provide that style, and that style should be style dot price. So let's go first at the footer, which is getting to be the flex direction row and center, but I'm not gonna go with that. I'm gonna just go with the space between if we are keeping anything. And for the price is the font size is 16, font weight 600, and color is app colors primary is 600, and margin bottom is 5. So that's what we did. Also, if we remove that margin bottom, I think right now, yeah, I'm not gonna keep the margin bottom, so that it will not be feasible in that matter. So right now I think that will be this much for this one, because whenever we're gonna adopt our card, that time we're gonna go and inject our card ratio. So first of all, as we are having that our for the product value here, so we are now passing that flat list for our feature products, right? So that's the feature product section, and our feature product parameter is done by so far. So I can also, I think over here I'm gonna put a style here, which is going to be, let's say, styles dot feature section. If you go here, it's just putting a margin particle of 16. So that's it. Okay, so now as we did that, I'm going to unclose that one. So this is entirely our feature product segment. So now over here, what I'm going to do, I'm going to create another one, which will be, let's say, newest product section. Okay, so this gonna contradict with all of our product variation, and you know, the product we have already. If you can see, we have the product. So this is, we are containing the feature product, but here as well we can have all of our entire product done, like the product ratio. So this is, we can also be contradict with, as you see, we have the products directly here. So that's the product we are embedding here to create the feature product. So we can use directly this product in our newest product segment, and up onto your API you can attach, or you can adjust the way you feel it better. Here I'm gonna take another view. So in that view I'm gonna take another similar of that view would be there, and that could be called the section header. And then I'm gonna provide the text here, which is going to pass that a newest should be newest arrivals. And of course over here in that should be style dot newest section, and also this one gonna combine that style for our let's say newest the section header. So that would be the header, and of course the title, which we defined previously, we should be calling that section title. So now as you can see, if we go back to our section, new section, it should be the margin particle of 16, margin bottom 32, and that's by so far. Others the same thing you watched before. So this is the same parameter, section header, section title. So this gonna combine especially for our newest arrival products. And also we're gonna provide another segment here, which going to be a touchable opacity. So touchable opacity, and here we're gonna provide that it gonna combine a text which should be, let's say, see all. So this gonna combine all together, and of course it should be, let's say, whenever we're gonna press on, I'm gonna keep the on press later on, but I'm gonna provide a title like style here. So style should be, let's say, styles dot see all text, and as you see, that's coming within the section header. So it will be the flex direction row, space between, item center, margin bottom, and padding right, the way we fetch it before. It will be similar of that. Okay, so right now we need to combine our product parameter, right? So after the touchable opacity done here, we need to provide a view here which gonna combine our product card, which we're gonna define. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna like that, we're gonna map through our entire products dot map, and here I'm gonna take everything as a product, and from there we're gonna simply return whatever the product value we want to pass. So first of all, I'm going to provide a view here, so a view, and within that view I'm going to pass that our product card. Okay, in that product card we're going to pass the product, which is going to be passing as a product, and then also we're going to pass that let's say the custom style. We can pass the style as we want it to, so we can make this style, let's say, the width, I'm gonna pass the width of, I'm gonna hardcode the width for that one, so should be, let's say, I'm gonna keep it as 100%, so it's gonna take the entire width segment. So if you see our previous, the feature section, not the feature, yeah, over here we are passing a compact value, right? Within the compact initialized, we are showing either, so there will be a false value and others, but here in that product we are not gonna send any for any segment here which for other compact value. And also we're gonna pass the key should be, let's say, product.key, I think product.id. And of course here the title style should be, let's say, I'm going to provide that styles dot product container. So if you go back here, as you see, the width should be 48%. Okay, I forget to save. Let's save it so we can see the product data and others. So that could be, let's load the product. And here you can see the product. So this is our entire product segment, but right now, as you see, it's capturing like entire width segment, so it's not taking what we are prefetching from here. So if we go back to our product card, let's just check if it's can taking our custom style. So if we go back here, yeah, it's providing the custom style and it's taking, or it's can capturing the custom style right here. So first, I think we need to tune a bit on our, as you see at the parent here, we need to style a grid pattern here. So I'm going to define a style which should be styles.product_grid. And if we go over here, flex direction row, wrap and justify between, so it's gonna make it separate, like together, you can see. So we are having our product data, and if we just go and watch our previous segment here, that would not be like that way. As you see there, the gapping padding should be in a proper way, but here, as you can see, we can see now it's not capturing the proper ratio. You know why? It's because we are capturing those things, so that's what we did manually, remember, just to showcase the entire segment. So right now what we can do, remember where we did that, we are making the padding right as 20. So the same thing it's gonna happen over in our, let's say, to be passing over here in the products grid, we're gonna make the same, should be padding, I think it will be right, yeah, padding right should be 20. Okay, it should be padding right or margin right, let's just see. Yeah, I think the padding right works work fine. So now we can see all of our products just aligning in side by side, and now it's time to build up our add to cart button. As you see, here is no button here, so we are unable to adding cart in the product. So now we can go here in our product card where we will initially launch our add to cart segment. So what we can do here is pretty simple. First of all, as you see, the footer which we have been created right here after the text over here, we're gonna go within a compact value. So we're gonna say if compact is not available, only then we're gonna provide our button. So we're gonna create a button element. Okay, so to do that, we need to create a button component here, and the button which we're gonna create, it would be a dynamic button. It's not will be a simple button at all. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna go in the components, we're gonna create a new file which will be button.tsx, so .tsx and rnfes. So that would be our button. So I'm gonna just call the button here, import it directly. So button from button, so we'll be able to see one button here. So now for the button itself, for the product card, we're gonna get some of the property, right? So we're gonna grab the title, which would be add to cart. We're gonna grab the size, which gonna define that size, what kind of size a button it would be. And also we're gonna grab some more other components which will be like a variant, which you're gonna for right now, this one, it should be, let's say, outline variant. Okay, outline. Now for the on press and other value, we're gonna keep it later. For first let's go to the button, and for the button itself, we're gonna provide some of the class name. Of course, I'm gonna go and picture those class name here and initialize it whenever we are upholding. So I need to import the app colors. Okay, so now this is that much. So in the button, we're gonna have lots of criteria. First of all, let's just dig on through what kind of pattern and what kind of criteria we're gonna have that. So we're gonna define an interface. So let's say interface, and that should be button props. So in the button props, what we're gonna keep the title, right? And the title every button should be having a title mandatory, right, which will be no any fallback loop, and then also should be on press. Now on press, I'm going to keep it like any. You can also make that one as a void, that's also because it will be an on press function. And I'm going to keep the variant. So the variant should be it should be not mandatory, but it can be go like that. So in the variant, we're gonna keep like that primary, secondary, outline, or ghost, and also it will be size, and also it's not applicable. It can be null because it's an optional value. We're gonna keep in an optional, and that could be small, medium, large, and also the full width. Either it will be boolean value. Disable also, it will be a boolean value for the disable, and also for the loading, it will be also a boolean value, true, false, and for the style, not like that. So style, it will not be an any value. You're gonna put that value for, let's say, style prop, okay, which gonna coming from React Native, and from there you're gonna pass that view style property, which also gonna come from that React Native. And of course, when I'm typing, you can see it's all are coming at the top, so make sure that those things are coming, otherwise it will be giving a fatal error, and it will be it will be amazing for that. And then also it gonna be, let's say, text style, so there will be a text, and the same thing, style prop, text style. Now, as you see, we have the button property, right? So now what we can do, we can initialize our button content here. So first of all, instead of declaring there, we can pass that it should be a react dot like so the fc mode, which could be a functional component, and over here we're gonna pass that property as button props. So what it's gonna do here, we're gonna having all of our properties right here. So even it's not there, even you just make type, it will automatically popping up. Now we're passing the title, we're passing the on press value, we're passing the variant. By default is primary. Now we can pass any variant, and then we have the size, which is medium. We have the full width, right now is false, disable is false, and also loading is false. We can take the style, whatever the style we want. We can take the text style. Now this button gonna be a dynamic button, so you need to be very concentrated, because if you can create a single button, you can create lots of components like in a dynamic way. So first of all, we're gonna properly align our button style. So should be const button style, and that could be an array of style, because we're gonna inject a lot of style there. So first of all, it should be styles dot button. So what is the styles of button is containing? As you can see, it's having the border radius of 8, align item center, justify center, and flex direction row. So if you keep the loader and text together, it will be side by side, and also it would be center, it will be aligned in center, so it will be in the middle. So imagine the button like a box. If you just can see here, okay, and you can see here add to cart, but add to cart is in the middle, so we are keeping everything in the center. So that's what we are doing. And so this is our first, so that is the base button component, base style, right, is doing here. Then we're gonna pass that style, another style should be there. So styles dot, it's gonna pass the variant style. And remember, the variant, it can be variant, it depends on the size, primary, secondary, outline. So it gonna define what kind of variant. And of course we're gonna pass the, if you can see here, you see the disable, primary, secondary, outline, all variant color would be provided right here. So the same thing gonna handle, it's gonna be coming us like, it gonna take the style, the size style, if the size is over there, full width, if it's full width there, style of full width. And as you can see, you can go variant, so that depends on the variant. And as you can see, for the primary variant, we have the background color is the app colors 500. For secondary color, accent color we are providing. For outline, transparent color we are providing. For ghost, we are providing just a transparent color, like there will be no background color, it will be transparent. And for the primary text, you see the color white, secondary text color white, and instead of getting white, you can also take the white from our app colors. And outline, primary color, ghost, primary color, small, padding vertical 8, padding horizontal 16, medium, padding vertical 12, padding horizontal 24, just like increasing the size, and large, padding vertical 16, horizontal 32. So it's just padding our entire box. So that's the fundamental things, nothing fancy here. So now what we need to do, we need to define our text style. So this is the button style. So now what we're gonna do, that should be text styles, and that styles also going to be combining within an array. So it should be styles dot text. So that would be our first priority. So first it's gonna be getting this style text, and as you can see, font weight 600, that's just a default style. Then we're gonna have the variant styles, and then we're gonna have our default parameter of text style. Now we're gonna define a touchable opacity. So should be, let's say we're gonna define it touchable opacity, which gonna coming from React Native. I need to work it all together. Okay, and also in the text by default we're gonna provide the title. So whatever the title we are providing, that would be the text here. And immediately you can see our add to cart button is providing our text. And I think I need to make something pretty clear here where we are passing that style. Remember what we did, instead of that, I think we can just simply go margin bottom. Remember, we just make that, I think I'm gonna make it 4. Okay, let's just, if it's no compact there, only then, so it will be pushing the button. Yeah, if you can just see here, I think I changed somewhere. Okay, I changed somewhere here, so I'm gonna just push it from here. So if I put 6, I just want to provide a pretty a decent gap here. So I think 5 will be doing the good things. So let's go back to our button. Now over in the button, as we having the title, so what we're gonna do here, we're gonna go and touchable opacity, we're gonna put a style here. So the style should be, let's say we're gonna provide that button style. So that's it. So as you see, we have a decent button style, and I think we can pass like around 7. Yeah, I think that's nice. And you see the button variant is outlined. So if we just don't pass any variant, what is gonna happen, let's see. So that's just a normal property it's gonna be passing through. And of course for this one also, I think if we go in our primary, I also want to make that one as primary text is color white. But anyway, we can do that, but I'm gonna just keep it as variant outline. Okay, so after that, so that's our variant here, and then we're gonna also make on press. If we're passing any on press event, it's gonna define that our on press event directly. So on press, and the disable parameter gonna work once the disable is true. So if gonna happen if the disable is true, and also if it's just loading. So in 2 parameter, it's going to be activated, either is loading or disable flag is getting true. And then I'm gonna make that activity opposite, activity opacity, which going to be, I'm gonna make it 0.7. So whenever the activity going to be happen, it should be like that. Now for the text, because the color, remember the color is not getting, because we need to provide the text, let's say text styles, not directly, but should be, yeah, I think we can provide it directly, but why the style parameter is getting an error? Style props, font weight 600, string size, I think maybe we are missing something. So styles.text, and then passing the variant of text, then text style. Okay, I'm gonna save it. Let's see. Text styles. So if I'm not providing any variant. Yeah, now it's capturing. Okay, cool. But why it's providing that? Okay, I'm gonna go on that. So that should be like, there would be a loading property. So when the loading is coming, I'm gonna provide that activity indicator. So activity indicator from React Native, and if it's no loading, then passing the text. So that's the condition we're gonna provide it through. And also for the color, the activity color should be, let's say if the variant is equal to let's say primary, then we're gonna provide the color should be white. Otherwise I'm gonna keep the color as not black, but colors dot, which should be, let's say primary dot, I'm gonna keep it 500. And instead of writing the white color, I think we can do some decent talk. because I don't like to put it in like that. Remember, the color which we have here, the background primary is our actual white color. So what we can do here, instead of writing like that, we can go in our app colors. So app colors dot background dot primary. That's it. So now we have our dynamic color combination, and I'm gonna try to compress it wherever I am using that white color. So in that way we can directly change from there, no need to just dropping it like that. So right now if we go okay, not the view style, that should be our text style. Yeah, that was the problem. The error is coming from here. So right now we're gonna having a pretty much decent dynamic button, and we can use anywhere. Like if we go and remove that like if you go in the product card and you see the compact, I'm gonna just remove it. Okay, that's it. If I remove, you can see the button right there. As in, so it just depends on our condition. We can see and go for the button anywhere. Now for the card itself here, we need to go and provide an on press event. So should be an on press, and we're gonna pass that as handle add to cart. So that would be the function which we're gonna defining through. So let's go at the top. We're gonna just make that handle add to not like that, should be const handle add to cart. And instead of console log, we're gonna just pass an alert, should be, let's say, alert dot alert, and no need to pass that ID, we're gonna pass that title. Okay, so now if we go here and click, you see add to cart, so that's the product which is going to be added to the cart. So any product right now, if we click, it will, as you see, men's cotton jacket add to cart. So this now here, instead of writing indefinitely like that, what we can do here, we can just show a toaster, right? We can just go and make a toaster here by which we can pass the message. So to implement that one, let's just go in our browser here, and we're gonna try another library here. Let's just go to npm, and that one should be a component which is the React Native toast message. This is the pretty decent and very simple library to showing your toast messages, and as you see, you can just simply copying that one and use that, and in the quick start you can see how you can easily start on that. So first of all, we're gonna go and inject that one in our project. So let's go our second terminal, put an ls cd should be client app, and press that. So npm I React Native toast message. So how it gonna do it, just to you need to tow it through a little bit so that you can just easily inject that. You can see here we need to inject it in our direct routing process so that it can grab that scenario. So in that way we doesn't have that app.jsx, right? So we can use it in a pretty different way, the way we define. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna import it in our main layout. So let's go copy that, and if we open the folder here, as you see, this is our base layout at the root layer. So we're gonna use it right here, and as the stack provider or stack is going on, we can just simply pass that. I think yeah, we can just take an empty basis here right now, because later on we're gonna also provide an Stripe provider here by which we can provide our entire route segment, so that there will be a lot of things here. So we're gonna just pass our toast. That's it. So now we have embedded toast within our components. So let's go back to our product card, and now we can inject a toaster here. So how we can inject it? So we're gonna learn something new right now to showcase your toaster in a very decent way. We just need to get the toast, which gonna be imported at the top. As you can see, it just imported from React Native toast message, and we need to provide that toast.show, and that would be a function, and within the function we're gonna pass the object layer. So first we need to define our type. So type should be, let's say, success, and text1 should be the title, product added to cart, and text2 should be subtitle. You can view, so in the subtitle I'm gonna or text2, instead of like that, I will go with a dynamic precision. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna provide the title and add it to cart, or you can just pass a little bit bold message, which should be has been added to your cart. That's it. If we hit enter, and as you can see, product added to cart, so this just, you can either keep it at the top, or you can also pass the position if you like. So we go the position, and you can keep the position at the bottom. It's up to you, but for me, as we headed to our navbar, the navigation tab at the bottom, I believe it's not a good position to keep it the bottom. So let's be the default, and I'm gonna like reduce the visibility time. So I'm gonna make like 2 milliseconds, so should be 200. Hit enter. You can see added to the cart, coming with the notch. Okay, good. So we can see it properly. Now this will not be the case, because whenever we're gonna click any product, we want the product to be go in a separate route where we can show all of our property, right? And how we can do that? First of all, we gonna implement that one. I think we're gonna implement that one in our entire project routing. So it should be, let's say, on press, and here we're gonna handle product route, handle, let's say, product route. So we're gonna make a function here, should be handle product route. So with this function, what we're gonna do, we're gonna handle which page it gonna handle. So I'm gonna define it at the top. I'm gonna go it here, and over here what we're gonna do, as I'm gonna take the router. So const router should be is equal to use router, need to import from Expo router. And over here what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna just go and make an event parameter, and that could be, let's say, I'm gonna take an any. So I'll provide the type. You just try to figure out if you can. So I'm gonna make an stop propagation. So any other capacity, I'm gonna stop it. And now here what I'm gonna do, I think that could be in a two different way. Either we can go, I think we can go with handle fabric precision. Yeah, that should be, yeah, that should not handle that. So that one should be router dot push, because there will be another property, I believe. So as you can see, every product have that favorite icon. So whenever I click, it should be toggle favorite. So that would be coming there also. But for this one, we need to create a route here. I think right now we're not having the route. So what I'm gonna do over here, so we doesn't have any single product route, so we need to create the route to cheer it up. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna take a folder here which is going to be product, and we need to create a dynamic route. If you are used to it with the Next.js, you know how to do it. So I'm gonna go over here, I'm gonna take a new file which should be coming with id, and there should be .tsx. so that should be our single product route. Okay, my bad, this is getting a wrong route here. Should be the second one. Yeah, that's the one, and that should be rnfes just to create a, and that should be single product screen. So that could be creating a single product screen here. And of course we need to highlight it. As you can see, there should be a different route is here. We need to stop that to happen. And to do that, the similar things which we did before, we need to go to our layout here, and on the layout we're gonna define another route. So I'm gonna go and make that, so that would be our new route which going to be understanding our product. So that should be, let's say, product / and then there should be id. And of course here should be something different in this route. Of course we don't want to showcase our tab bar style. So as you can see, if we just go and pass that value here, so let's just make like that, should be let's say I'm gonna go for our, okay, it's not coming. That's strange. Okay, it should be coming our product route. I need to define the route here. So layout, yeah, product products of, yeah, I think we pretty much defined here. And here also, if product is coming, no, product is not coming, means it's not capturing that. It's not getting the one which we are highlighting. I think, am I missing something? So if we go here and make that route, should be product / id. So that's our route, and href should be null, tab bar style. We don't want to showcase the tab bar there. So that we can now combine it. So should be products. I think we can just go in dynamic way. I think we can provide, it will not showcase, so it will not coming on that. So I'm going to go within the backtick property, and over here what I'm going to do, I'm going to go /product, and I'm going to create the route with actual ID. So now I think the e parameter not required, just we are routing that. If we click right now here, as you see, we are here in the product screen. But in the product screen, if we just go in the layout, if we just remove this part, tab bar style, we can go and see our tab bar. But what I don't want to keep our tab bar here. So I will create a custom navigation here. So I'm going to close others, because right now we're going to go and combine it here. Now over in that screen, we can now go and fetch each and everything. Now there is one very simple things is happening. If we go in our product card again, so here you can see we are passing the ID, so we can capture the ID and we can work it with all together. How we can do that? First of all, we need to retrieve the ID from here, and it's a very simple way to do that. So we're gonna make that const should be, let's say, ID, and that ID should be is equal to, you're gonna make that use location params from the Expo router, and on that location params we can just pass the value which going to be an ID, and of course we can define it not like that, we can define it all together. So we can pass that value here, and over this segment we can pass the ID which going to be coming as a string. Now if we make log here, we can just see the ID. I believe it gonna, as you see, 19 is right here. And for a brief scenario, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna activate, let's just go in the layout, because as we are creating the, okay, we're gonna create the navigation tool. Okay, no worries, we're gonna just do it ourselves. So first of all, we are having the ID, but before going so far, we need to create something which call that, especially to go and see the scenario, that we need to create a common header. So I'm going to go in to create that. So let's just go in our component library over here. I'm going to create another file which going to be a common header. So let's say common header.tsx rnavs. So that could be generating our header scenario, how we gonna passing it through. So first of all, in the matching with our ID, we have a view. After the view, we're gonna have that our common header. So at the top you can see the common header. Now we're gonna make it looks 1,000 times better. And first of all, the same thing what I'm gonna do, you know it better, I'm gonna go and provide this styles property so that it will be easy to understand to capturing all the scenario. Now okay, I think I misspelled something. What we did, okay, background color, app color, okay, I think I missed something right here. I copied but not the entire copy. Okay, so right now what we need to define here in the view, we need to define some style, and of course the style, and first of all we should have some of the style general, like in the title, in that particular interface, what we can see. So first of all, we can have some property like props, and that could be, let's say, is favorite, by which we can capturing an icon by, apart from that either is added to the favorite, or the favorite icon could be seen or not. And also it could be one function which should be toggle favorite, so that would be there or not. So this differentiate we're gonna have, because we're gonna use such common header in a different approach. But even, okay, right now I'm not gonna add it, because whenever we're gonna doing that, we're gonna adding it one by one. So first thing first, what I gonna do here should be style, and that could be the styles dot header. So that would be our style. So as you see, if we go back to the header, that's just having a padding, margin all together, so many other things, but we are missing something. I think I'm gonna open another structure, and you can see here, as you see, there is go back side here, and by clicking here you can add that to the cart. So that's what is just happened to be there. And now also we're gonna create one button which should be clicking, you can go add to the cart page. So this is kind of cool. So we're gonna do that things here, so that would be there and that would be here. So this is how we're gonna like differentiate from the other property. Okay, So right now, as you see, we have for the parameter here, we can see how we are doing that here, and we're gonna keep that all together part. So as you see, keeping this everything right. Now we're gonna go at the top. So let's go, I think, where we are. I think we're gonna come back here. We're gonna do some styling here because we don't want to use the safe area view here because you know the image is bigger, it can go through and shuffling through it. So I'm gonna make the padding top, which is going to be a 30 pixel. So you see it's gonna passing through the beginning. So background color also you can keep. I'm gonna just popping that you can also make that inline color. So it should be app colors dot background dot primary. I think so. Why it's not imported app colors? No, not yet. Okay, done. Okay, app colors. Why? What's wrong? App colors is coming here. So background color. Okay, let me just check again. App colors dot, we can just provide the background and then we can provide the primary. The same thing I did. Okay, anyway, it's not taking, it's gonna take now. Okay, so what's the wrong? We can see here and we can just reload. I think something is not matching up. It's just providing the error, so we will fix it. And a little reload can help you to do that. If we click, first of all, if we click and add to cart, yeah, we are having that. But if we click here, yeah, also, okay, fine, it's working. Okay, it's cool. So now as we are having that, now we're gonna go in our common header because we need to make it right first of all. So in the common header, we're gonna go and make something changeable. So instead of that one, that should be, let's say, touchable opacity here. So in the touchable opacity, we're gonna take a icon, would be the feather icon, and the feather icon going to be style, and that style going to be taking that styles.back button, and the name should be the arrow left, size should be 24, and the color, I don't want to provide that color, so I'm gonna go with, let's say, app colors text primary, which is kind of black. Okay, so now if we save here, we should be able to see what the scenario is changing, but it's not changing at all. Anything we are misleading here. If we reload again, it should generating that. It's generating, but it's not providing the actual data. Okay, it's right here. Okay, cool. It just happened to be some error at some midpoint. Okay, so right now, as in the touchable opacity, what I want to do is that I'm gonna put a style, and the style should be styles.back button to keep it in the middle. So let's go back in the back button. Here we're gonna provide a width of 40, height of 40, border radius 20, background color, align center, justify center to keep everything in the center. And also for the I think both are coming as the back button. Am I right? That style would not be there. Why? That sometimes happen when you are happy to be that you're getting everything as like directly capturing all together by autofill, and you know that could happen. Okay, so right now okay, we are having that our back button icon there. So as you see, once we click, it can go back, but we need to make the functionality to let it go back. So const router should be, let's say, use router, and over here we're gonna define how it's gonna go back. So here we can just simply pass that, let's say on press, we can just simply pass that, let's say handle go back, because we can add so many logic here. Const handle go back, and here we can just define how we want it to go back. So we can just simply like that, if if router dot can go back. Okay, if you can go back, then router dot go back, and else we can just simply define router dot push. If anything happen, we always want it to be go to the home route. So right now, if we can go back, we can go back at the back. If we cannot go back, it will always track to the home route. So that's what we did. Now there is one thing, so I think the favorite, we're gonna use that because we should use that toggling parameter and others. So as a parameter of the props, we can take the is favorite. We can as a boolean value, we can take also the handle toggle favorite to just showcase the void properties and others. And also we can take another property, which it will be show card, which we didn't do it altogether, but we're gonna keep it here. Now over here in the scenario, we're gonna introduce another, let's say I'm gonna provide a view here. Okay, so in the view, we're gonna provide another touchable opacity here. Within the touchable opacity, it should be an undesign, and in the undesign property, we're gonna take the icon name should be a heart 2. Okay, and 24, and that color should be like that. We're gonna redefine that one later on, but first of all, let's just go and okay, I think 24 and color, I'm gonna keep it something like that. Color, if is favorite is available, not like that. I think we didn't import it yet, so is fav, I think we can just capture it from the props. Yeah, so now we can grab it, is fav, and then show card, also handle toggle favorite. So these two value and two properties gonna be happen to all together. So if its favorite is available, then it's gonna be, let's say, app color dot primary app colors dot, I think it will not be that, background dot primary, otherwise app color text primary. And also we're gonna provide a fill color. So the fill should be okay, why it's not taking the fill? You should take the fill. If is fav is there, am I out of that? No, we're not out of that, so it should be background dot primary. I think the fifth color, it will be there. Okay, I think it could be not like that. It could be white or it could be transparent. But it's not matching the way it should be. I have some drought here. Okay, it will not match because see the background. Okay, I was right because we didn't provide the background color here, so should be style. We need to define the style in a compact way, so it can be with an array property. The style should be is we have the favorite button style is there, and then that would be the normal favorite button style. If you can see the combination here, that's a width 40, height 40, border radius 20, background color, app colors, background secondary, align item center. If you just change it here, you can see the color is changed right here, the tertiary. So that's how we are changing the color, and we're making everything aligned together. And if it's the active favorite button, then it's just app colors error. So that's how we are dealing with that. So if you just make that, you can just go and null check. If it's not is fab, you see that's the how it gonna capture the scenario. And I think instead of getting 24, I think 20 gonna do the purpose. Yeah, and also the arrow, I think because I make the device is bigger, so I think the 20 is gonna have a big deal. And also I'm gonna having another icon here, which going to be, let's say it should be shopping cart. Okay, so now this would be the shopping cart. I think for the shopping cart, I love to use the card which we use at the shop, so that's the one I would love to use. So let's go back to our layout. I'm gonna capture that card from there. So layout, and here we use a card icon. So where's the icon? Okay, the foundation. Okay, not that one, but the foundation. Okay, anyway, so we can use that one from there. So instead of and design, we're gonna use the foundation icon, and over here we're gonna pass that shopping cart. Okay, so now it looks good. Foundation card, is it outline is available? Shopping cart outline, nope. But it's not so nice. I think we can search for something, so we can just search Expo icons. We can see the icon library is coming here. Yeah, here. So we can just make that cart icon just to see if we can find any similar icon with an outline variant. Okay, no outline, no, yeah, there is. So that is coming from material community icons. So that is providing the outline icon. So instead of that, we can use that material community icon, and that gonna provide that shopping cart outline. That's it. Oh, oops, it's shopping outline. Oh my. Why I think that would be cart outline maybe. Yeah, okay, cool. So I can keep it 24. It's a small size. Okay. So here I can just pass an inline style if you want it to. And of course, I think we're gonna make that styles dot button view. Okay, so we're gonna create a custom style at the bottom. So let's go here and we're gonna just simply create that style, and on that button view, not like that, you're gonna make that flex direction should be, let's say, raw, and we can provide a gap but not 10. I think 10 is too much, so that would be 5. Okay, so now once we click on that particular button here, we want to make that to the cart. So on press, and we can just simply make that like that here. So router dot push, not that cart. I think we can simply go, I think, taps dot cart. That would be specified with the type. If we click, we can now in the cart screen. Okay, that's cool. So now we are having our, let's go back to the single again. So as we are having our common header done, so now we know what we can do within the common header. So what we're gonna do right here after this scenario, we can now pass several properties. So that should be is fab should be is true. So is fab is fav, which is not, I think we can pass only the favorite ID, product ID. So is favorite, okay, I think we're gonna pass it later. Okay, so just we're gonna pass the common header right now. Okay, so what we can do right now, we need to grab the product first of all. As we are having right now, everything is working perfectly, we need to go and capture the product altogether. So how we can do that? So should be, let's say, product and set product. And by the way, you can also capture, we can bring the product if you wanted to from by using the same route. You see, we capture the ID, you can capture an entire product. That you can do also, but we will not do like that. We're gonna go in a server call to capture the product, and the product should be a type of product, and also it would be eligible to provide a type which can be called as a null type. So it can be provide a nullable value till we retrieve the product from the server. So now also we're gonna having a loading state, which by default going to be false, not true. It's just providing the true value. And here we're gonna also make the error property. So should be, let's say, const. We're gonna provide, and let's say the error and set error, it can be go and a null and other property. And also we're gonna go with the quantity and use quantity should be 1 here. And also we can do a lot of other things. So right now we're gonna skip that. First we're gonna show the product, later on we're gonna go, like, we're gonna capture the is favorite, it is added to the favorite or not. We're gonna go and capture it all together, but not right now, because it is added favorite, you know, we need to highlight the icon, right? So we need to do a lot of things. So we're gonna define the use effect property, and in the use effect we need to run whatever the things we're gonna call. First of all, we're gonna go and bring the empty dependency here. So this will dependency gonna be modeling true within the ID. So whenever the ID is changed, it's gonna just run and capture it again. So now we're gonna capture that, let's say, fetch product data. So that would be an asynchronous function, and then we're gonna go with that. And of course we will create a simple function property. Here we're gonna make a try catch block, and in the catch we're gonna provide that, let's say, set error. We're gonna provide a set error which going to passing a message which going to say fail to fetch product data. And also in the log we can just simply pass that, let's say, should be error, and we can just define the error. Okay, or you can even plus, you can put a comma, that's both are fine. Now over here in the try block, what we can do here, first of all, whenever it's capturing, we're gonna make that set loading should be as true value. So in the try block, we can just define here, we can make that const data should be is equal to await, and that's going to be capturing that fetch. Instead of fetch, I think we have that get product. Remember, we have products, but we doesn't have the product, so we need to create our API which gonna handle to fetch our single product, right? So instead of get products here, we can create another one which will be, let's say, get single product. Okay, so what is gonna happen? So it's going to happen the similar thing which we did before, but it's gonna having an exception. The exception is that in the get product, we're gonna get an parameter as id, which is going to be number, and that should be dividing coming as a promise which retrieve the product. So const response going to be await a fetch and API URL products, and we're gonna go with id. So if you go in the API and product is particular number of the product id, it's gonna passing you the response of id, then the same response return await response.json. So that's how we are going to capture on that. So instead of the get products, we're gonna capture that get product from our library. So now we are having that. So in the get product, we need to pass the id. Now we are using the, as you can see, we are using use search local search param, which dividing as a string, but we need to provide a number. We can simply call that as a number and then pass the id. Also, you can do it by other way. You can also pass the variation by keeping, you can use that, you see, const id num. You can just simply pass that number and then pass the id. It will also do the purpose, but I will just provide in the same ratio. That's it. Now we can just pass that set product should be data, and over here done. And also we can as you see, we have the try catch. We can make the finally parameter, and over here we can make that set loading should be as false. So now according to that, we can just log to our product should be, let's say, product, and we can just go with the product. And first of all, before getting the product, we need to pass our, we need to call the function, and the function we're gonna call, if we have the id, only that time we're gonna call that our fetch product data. That's it. It's safe. So let's go back to our function. So now it's showing null product. Let's go back there again. We're gonna call the product. So click, and we are capturing like, okay, no worries about it, because I think there is some network issue is capturing for my internal server. So I will just skip it for a bit as it's just getting better. I will just start working with our profile screen as it's just going to be happen. We will just bring it shortly because it just happened to be some network error once you are capturing data from Fakestore API for your phone. So I need to curb some of the latency. I'm gonna fix that very soon. So right now what we can do, we can create our, like for the profile screen, we can go and use some simultaneous data. So in that way we can having our entire route and other segment, and that's what we can do. And to work with that, let's go back to our, and I think to initialize on that particular matter, you see the store. In this store we should be having another property which will handle our, like we will bring up all of our store properties. So here we're gonna also provide our auth store. So should be, let's say, auth store .ts. So this is going to handle our entire auth property. And for the auth store, we need to use our Supabase auth. So that's the what we're going to use. So if you're not new to Supabase, so if you're not used it before, what I recommend you to go in a Supabase, just create your account and you can start working with that. And after creating, you just need to create a new project. So right now I'm having my 2 project, which is free for 2 project only. So I have 2 projects. I can go and start direct to connect on that property here. So I'm going to connect and showcase to you how you can do that too. And to go and grab your Supabase parameter, it's pretty simple. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to go in my lib here. So where is my lib? That's my client here, lib. I'm going to create a new folder which will be supabase.ts. Okay, so here I should be grabbing some two of the properties, which will be my URL key and others, and that's where I'm gonna capture in .env file. Should be I'm gonna open a new file which will be .env, and here I'm gonna capture two properties. One, it will be my, let's say, expo Supabase, expo public Supabase URL. Then it's gonna be also expo public Supabase amon key, and then I'm gonna capturing that API key here also. So that's I'm gonna keep it here, so if I wanted to, but it's up to you how we're gonna keep. So I'm gonna just keep that one right here, and from here we can also capture it. But how you can get that expo public Supabase URL and expo public Supabase amon key? And you just need to create an application or create a project that you need to enter within the project. And as you see, there is a connect tab, so I'm gonna highlight that one to you. And as you opened, you can see there is a connection string by which you can connect with your Postgres URL. Then there is the app framework. If you click on that app framework, you're gonna get that key. So the key is right there. You can see next public Supabase URL, next public Supabase anon key. So I just don't want you to show my key, so I just highlight that. I just hide that one. So you can just copy paste the key from there, and after that you can just simply enter your key right in that scenario and it will work perfectly. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna capture my key and then I'm gonna close this file. So right now I'm having my key within my parameter, so I need to configure the Supabase. To configure the Supabase, you need to have a package here, which is going to be also, you can simply search in the npm. In the npm file, we can just simply go here, search a Supabase or a Supabase /Supabase.js. It's a very bit of popular library here by which you can get your Supabase connection entirely. You can see more than 1 million download per week, so nearly 2 million. So what I'm gonna do right now is to just capture here and just paste it, so it's gonna install my Supabase. So no worries about that. We're gonna go through our single product design and other parameters, so nothing to worry. And also we need to capture one more property. If we go in our package, I want to see if we have that expo secure storage by default. No, it's not added, so I need to add that one. So we're gonna go with expo secure storage, because by which we're gonna capture our secure storage parameter. So I'm gonna just minimize that and install that dependency too. Now I'm going to go to capture our Supabase parameter. So overall here we need to capture this mass parameter. So we need to import our expo public Supabase anon key, which is gonna coming from the config. And remember, we didn't create a config file, we just capture one .env file, because we can grab that .env file also, but I love to use that a config parameter by which we can easily pass the parameter in a very adaptable manner. So I will just create a config.ts file, because it will just work like a multiple instances. It's gonna capture our process.env file, but radically instead of it will not read because the Supabase no need to read our the value of that parameter. So the parameter gonna be read by our config. So here I'm just getting that expo config publish Supabase URL, which gonna be the Supabase URL, otherwise it's empty string, then anon key, otherwise empty string, and API URL, the API URL, otherwise for the backbone we are passing there, and then we're exporting. So any environment variable we can sanitize using that config. It's just an additional layer. If you're adding, okay. If you don't add, it's also fine. It's up to you. So now we can easily just grab that one. So I think we can get from there, yeah, config. Okay, so now we have all three key together. So now we can expose the Supabase key. So first of all, how we can capture, we will implement. So implement I think implement I'm going to implement a custom storage provider to store not like that. I'm gonna make a custom storage adapter for secure store, by which we can read our store property. Okay, so how we can do that? First, we're gonna use that. We're gonna make a expo secure store adapter. So that will be our adapter here, and on the adapter we're gonna make that get item. So should be the get item, and remember we're gonna go with that. We need to pass the variable like the value here. The value should be a key, and that could be coming as a string. And here we need to define what kind of properties we are running on that. If we have the platform dot os is equal to, let's say we are working for the web, so it gonna capture the web parameter, then it gonna just return that local storage dot get item then key. And of course after the parameter it gonna return with that secure store, because it gonna sanitize with our secure store and then get item as a synchronized way, then we're gonna pass the key. So we are sanitizing like for getting our adapter key parameter. So that's how we're gonna set. And the similar way as we are getting item, we need to have a two separate position, which will be set item, another will be remove item. The same thing, it will be working for web, not for our app premises, but within that parameter, instead of using the other fabric or other, we can just exploit for our Expo secure key. Okay, so now as you're having there, now what we need to do, we need to initialize. So now let's say initialize the Supabase, let's say Supabase client. We can initial that. So const, I'm gonna make that a Supabase URL. So Supabase URL, and that URL key should be, let's say it could be, I'm gonna again it could be Expo Supabase URL, or it can be null. So it's just a sanitization. You can, it's up to you. You can keep it like that, or you can directly adopt that one. Okay. So you can have two separate parameter. We have Supabase URL, we have Supabase anon key, and after having the key, we can just simply make that export const. We're gonna make that a Supabase here, and on that Supabase, we're gonna pass in the create client hook, and which gonna take a two parameter. One is that Supabase URL, another is that Supabase anon key, and then we are passing that auth method, which capturing our storage, which getting our Expo secure storage adapter. Then we are also making auto refresh token is true, persist session is true, and detect session URL in URL is false. So now we are having our Supabase URL, so means our Supabase connection is good to go. So as our Supabase connection is good to go, now we can initialize our auth store, by which we can define our auth store. And remember, we already use for the we provide that Zustand, and we are having the Supabase in the lib. We're gonna use the create method from the Zustand. So now we can also use the interface, which gonna define two separate interface, which is the user and other property. And also we can manage to create our auth store. So it will be a simple parameter. We can go in a strategical way, and we can minimize and accelerate on that. And for our this is the user, but for our auth user, so we're gonna have a different interface. So in our auth state gonna be user, which can be user or that ID and email. Otherwise it can be null, is loading boolean, is error, could be error there. Auth action, we're gonna have a 4 section. One will be login, which gonna be taking string as email and password, and then gonna passing a promise. Sign up, also you're gonna use the email and password, passing the promise. Log out, just passing the promise to just click and log out. And check session, which going to handle every time to check if our session is running or not. Now this one I'm not gonna go using persist. You can use the persist because I did it before, so it's up to you, because here as you can see we use that persister, right? So it's up to you. You can also use the persist store if you wanted to, but for user I want to keep it in real time. So should be export const, let's say use auth store, which going to be, I'm gonna use that create method. And on that create method, it's gonna take that our auth state, the parameter which you're having here, and on that particular parameter we're gonna use that method which gonna be set. And from here we can just passing the function. Within function it's gonna go all the method. So should be user gonna be a null user, and then is loading gonna be, let's say by default it's gonna be false, and error it will be null. So this is a one particular value here. Then we're gonna go and use that our login parameter. So it could be like that. It should be, let's say login with email and password. So we're going to create the functionality by which we can log in with that. So it could be login, and that could be an asynchronous function, and async, and here it will take the capture of email string, and also it's gonna capture the password, which could be a string, and then it's gonna pass our function. So this would be the one function, and again there should be a logout, sign up, logout, and check session. So that's the 4 functionality we're gonna create, right? So for a login parameter, how it gonna happen? So first of all, we're gonna define the, let's say we're gonna define our sign up parameter. So in the sign up, what we're gonna do, we're gonna use a try catch parameter just to sanitize if we are having any error or not. So in the catch parameter, we're gonna set the error value property. So in the error, it's gonna be, let's say error should be error dot message, and after that we can also make that is loading can be false, and we're gonna pass any error. Right now we can define the property, but we're gonna capture it any error. And if we are having if we go with the sign up parameter, first of all we're gonna make that is loading should be, let's say it should be true, and then error should be, let's say null, no error gonna happen. And we're going to define that const, we're going to capture the data and also capture the error, which going to be coming from await, and then it going to coming from Supabase dot auth. We need to capture the auth, then we're gonna use that sign up method. Okay, sign up method, and on that function we're gonna pass the 2 value, which going to be our email, which going to be our password. Remember the email and password which we're capturing, which will be coming as props. So that's the props we're gonna capture on that. And over here, if we are having an error here, then we're gonna just throw the error. Okay, and right now we are not gonna entertain that. This is the setting. We're not gonna setting the parameter, or we can set if we wanted to, but right now I'm gonna make that with a position, and if data and data dot user is available, then what we're gonna do, we're gonna make that set. We can just we can also set the user from here. You see, data.user, we can set user, but we will not set user like that. Our user is not typically happen to be like that, so I'm gonna remove that. So set gonna capture a different functionality, an object. So user is typically having another object, so id should be data.user. So data.user.id, oops, should be dot, not like that, .id. And for email, it could be data.user.email. If his email is not available, it can be happen to be an empty string. So that could be our user. And after user, of course, we can make that is loading as false. So that's indirectly we can capture all together. So that would be one parameter for our for creating our instances for our sign up. And for login parameter, we'll go pretty much similar of that. You can see here for this parameter, we're making set loading true, error null, and Supabase auth sign in with password. So that's the method we're gonna use, and capturing going email and password, having error, throwing the error, otherwise setting user, data user id, email, and that's it. And we're capturing if any error coming up. Now after that, we're gonna capture our logout method. It's pretty simple and straightforward method going to be happen. As you see, we're making a simple try catch error, capturing on that way. If we are having our error, we are passing that so we are just capturing the error, because wait, we are just making sign out, so no, nothing we're gonna capture. We are setting user base is null and is loading is false. So now this is the radical thing is done. So now there is one of the most important variable which gonna check is that every time we are having user, we're gonna can check if the user is available or not. And of course, if we having we can check the session. If in the session we are having an error, means we are not retrieving any user, then we can pass that method the error ratio. We can just use that set property, and here we're gonna pass the error user should be coming as a null property. So user should be null, and error should be, let's say error should be error dot message, and is loading should be false. Now what's going to happen if we have the session? So if we have session, first of all, the similar parameter, we need to define that set loading should be as true, not like that, I think, is loading. So is loading should be true and error should be null. And if we have, now we need to capture the data, so should be const data, and we're going to capture our error. If it's there, then it's going to happen await, and it's going to capture from the Supabase dot auth. We're going to get with the auth dot session, or I think the get session method we're going to combine. So get session, and whenever we're going to get the session, it's going to capture our session by default. So after the session itself, we're going to having the data. So if we are having the error, we're going to capturing, we're going to just simply throw error, so we know the error is happening. And if it's not error, like if we have the data and session, we will do the same precision. So instead of logging every time, we can just capture that method either. Okay, I think I'm missing something. So if we are having the error, so that could be here. If we have data and session, okay, why is the wrong is coming? I think I maybe miss. Oh, I should have else parameter. Okay, that's my bad, because that could be having an else method elsewhere, otherwise it's gonna throw us the error. So right now, what is gonna happen? If we have the data and session, we're capturing the user from the session, then we are setting the user, same like what we did when we make login or sign up. Otherwise, if we doesn't have a session, or the session doesn't have a user or data, then we're making user null, set loading false. So now what we're gonna have, we have our entire segment done. We have our auth storage, we have our Supabase. So now it's basically capturing the data layer nowadays. Now basically you're gonna create two set of like routes which you're gonna capture our sign in and also the sign up method. So that's the two things which we're gonna do right now. We're gonna create our sign in and sign up method, sign up screen, to capture our data, our user.